The first round of eliminations has called the herd of playoff competitors in the Area Elite Entertainment Cup Series. And with 4 fewer drivers vying for a championship, only 8 remain for the third round of the playoff races. Tonight's race takes the field to the heart of Virginia and to a track as old as the sport itself. This is Martinsville Speedway, a track affectionately known by fans as the Paperclip. For drivers, it's more affliction than affection as pressure rises in a 200-lap race. Hi, everybody. Kyle Heyer joined by Hunter Sleppy for playoff round 3 of 5. Hunter, welcome aboard. The half-mile Paperclip, known as Martinsville, hosts our next round. This place is a challenge for drivers all the way through the field, but 23 here kicking things off for our third round of the playoffs.
Be here, Kyle, and glad to see some more area iRacing, playoff racing, that is. We have the Elite Entertainment Cup Series powered by Butt Kicker here tonight. Tomorrow night, CNC Logging Truck Series, and Thursday night, the Lodge Box Series. But, as always, we kick it off Monday with the Elite Entertainment Cup Series, and they just got done with the first of 3 playoff eliminations. Last week, we saw Brad Slaughter make it in from a 3-way tie between him, Ed Robertson, and Tyler Nichols. Slaughter was dead last in the points, 19 points out, and he needed to have a solid run at the Charlotte Roval in order to make it to the next round, and he did just that, squeaking by with a 5th-place finish and breaking a 3-way tiebreaker.
That's what happened last week, and I heard the racing was very, very good up there at the Roval, Hunter. But tonight, short track racing. This brings out a lot of emotion in drivers and can be pretty stressful for drivers at the front and at the back, especially as we get closer towards the end. This track is one of the only tracks that's been on the NASCAR schedule since its inception. It is one of the oldest tracks on the schedule, and it has played host to a NASCAR race at least once a year for decades upon decades, and will host our 200-lap race tonight. So 200 laps is not a particularly short race around here either, Hunter, so keeping the fenders on the car is going to be very, very important.
You mentioned it. They go once a year, at least once a year here for the NASCAR circuit area. This is the first time we've ever gone here. We haven't been to Martinsville at all. Been to Bristol, haven't been to Martinsville, so this will be a first for everyone, and it's in the next-gen car, so we'll have to see if there's any shifting going on like we saw in real life.
I think we'll probably see a little bit of that, but let's see what we saw last week with last week's update. We'll be right back. This car rolling through turns 3 and 4, 140 laps this race, flag to flag. If it were to stay green, would be about an hour and 17 minutes. We'll see how long it takes us, see how clean it can be. Weishart and Hearn up front, kicking things off playoff style, going for the championship. It all starts here in Southeast. That was a week behind there, Hunter, so we're going to just continue back with practice coverage here. Under 5 minutes remaining here in practice, and have a look on the left-hand side of the screen. Your top runner right now is Cameron Hearn in that number 67. Perhaps no surprises there. And Jake Nichols, always looking good. He's right now second here in practice. Ryan Hart's running third, and look at our 8 playoff competitors. All 8 are in the top 8 here in practice, and I don't think that's a coincidence.
No, it is not. Those are the fastest 8 in the field, and they're the fastest 8 for a reason, because they're all trying to go for that championship, and they're all showing that effort here in the postseason. And we're looking at the Homestead highlights, which was the most recent win from Jake Nichols, and looking back on the schedule at tracks around a mile in length, because this is the shortest track that we've been to all season. Jake Nichols has won both races. He won at Phoenix, he won at Dover, and then the next one up, I'd say, is Gateway. That kind of races like a short track. That was also won by Jake Nichols. So Jake Nichols is one to keep an eye on here tonight. He has a 48-point cushion, so I feel like if there's one driver in the field without any stress whatsoever, it's that 91 car of Jake Nichols.
Yeah, no stress is a good thing to have coming into a track like this. Again, it's so easy to find yourself turned around. A lot of the drivers were discussing the challenges of the setup here this week and finding it difficult to drive. I think seeing a lot of the tire marks at turn 2 and turn 4 tells a lot of the story, Hunter. So beyond just the shifting of the car and the transmission, I think holding on to the car, especially in traffic, will be a topic of discussion tonight.
Yeah, from what I'm hearing with the setup, it's not really that much. It's not one that caters to the drivers. It's going to be a handful for these guys to try and get a grip on. They got 200 laps to settle in, and there's the 88 car bouncing off the wall. And actually, I was just going to say, Brad's grandfather has checked into the chat, and as mentioned, he was 19 points out of the cutoff last week, and he made it in on a three-way tiebreaker, and he's got a brand new paint scheme on that number 88 from Elwood Designs.
Looks great. I'll say that shiny red and white. Heading off into turn number 3 right now. His best lap, a 19.538, good enough for 8th in the standings here in practice. The thing that concerns me, Hunter, is just squeezing into the next round here in the playoffs and running last of the playoff competitors here in practice so far tonight. This doesn't bode well. At this point, 8th isn't going to be good enough. You have to be a little bit better than that. See him get into the wall at the exit of turn 2 there. But 8th was good enough to get you here. It's not going to be good enough to get you a championship. So hoping that Brad can get things turned around here tonight.
Yeah, he enters tonight 8th in the playoffs, 14 points out of it, and 13 points out of it here is the 28 car of Nick Johnston. Enters 6th tonight in the point standings, currently 7th quickest here at Martinsville. He was one to watch out for last week, nearly got it done at the Charlotte Roval, but it was that 7 of James Scioli who got the job done.
Scioli off track right now, but 5th in the order as it stands. David Weishart in the 33 up in 4th, and we mentioned Hartz, Nichols, and Hearn 3rd through 1st. Dominic DeLeo in the 22 sits on pit lane in his Ford Mustang. He's 6th here in practice, but again, it's amazing to me how the cream rises to the top, and you see those blue background numbers on the timing and scoring. Those are your playoff competitors. The navy blue, the dark blue backgrounds, those are your non-playoff competitors. And we have 23 drivers here tonight, including a couple of them that just missed out. Jordan Martin was one of them. Hunter didn't make it to the next round, but maybe this reshifts your focus. You can now focus on just having good runs. You're not point racing at this stage, and I think that's a relief for a lot of these drivers.
Yeah, Jordan Martin got in after winning at Talladega, was 19th in the points, so had to be inside the top 20 and have a win to lock himself in, and he did just that. Kind of was stress-free. He 100%, I'm pretty sure he knew he wasn't going to contend for it. Had a little bit of hope, but you know, he was just there to ride it out, and he's going to ride it out here tonight in Martinsville. And actually, just looking at this, the last 4 cup races we've had have all been different winners, including Jordan Martin from Talladega. I got to go back to Nashville with Dominic DeLeo getting the job done there. Then Jordan Martin, Jake Nichols at Homestead, and James Scioli at the Charlotte Roval. So, Kyle, is there a possibility that we see a 5th different winner in 5 straight cup races?
Well, I think there's an absolute possibility because this track is so unpredictable. It's not unpredictable in terms of your pace. It's just everyone else around you and how much they're willing to rough you up for a position here. Maybe not early, maybe not by lap 50 or lap 100, but by lap 150 or 200, you best be looking in that mirror because there's going to be 22 or 20 drivers behind you that want to get on by. So we certainly could see a chaos here. Short track late in the season. This is a breeding ground for chaos, and Martinsville has been home to that for a very, very long time. Qualifying kicking off now. Drivers will have a couple of minutes and a couple of laps to get things rolling. Brad Slaughter Jr. in the number 88 will be one of our first drivers to load up onto pit lane and head out on the racetrack. Cameron Hearn, though, in the 67 immediately spins off into the inside wall. And that's going to be maybe a sign of things to come here as drivers get rolling. It's a little slippery out there, to say the least.
Yeah, I'm looking through amongst those that are still in the playoffs. Cameron Hearn and Nick Johnston are the only drivers who have yet to win a cup race this season. And also looking back with our 4 different winners in 4 races, 3 of those 4 got their first area iRacing Cup victory. DeLeo, Martin, and Scioli. So we could see, again, 5th different winner, but we could see another first-time cup winner this season.
So Weishart comes up out of turn number 4 across the line. He will record the 19.429 that will put him to the top of the board for now. James Scioli that you mentioned, there's a good look at the number 7, ends up in the wall. Brad Slaughter Jr., though, in the 88, rolls out of turn 4 again on his 2nd lap. He will go a little bit quicker, but not quicker than Weishart in the 33. Johnston was 4th. Now Adam Capps and Ballacino best to him. Ballacino, rather, in the 70, so up to 3rd for that. And Jake Nichols to the top of the board, all quickly shifting and shuffling around.
Yeah, it's a short track, and things move quick here. I was just going to touch up on Weishart. It seems like that 33 car is just a magnet for starting 3rd, finishing 3rd, running in 3rd. So probably expect the 33 to run in 3rd tonight.
All right, so Ryan Hart's in the number 3 now, rolling through turn number 2. And exiting up onto the back straightaway. Chris Seidenfeiden, the number 45, is on track as well. And up in the wall at the exit of turn 4. Somebody tried to get a little bit too much there. Jordan Martin has not rolled yet. Jay Perkins in the 49 is beginning to roll now. And Dominic DeLeo in that 22 is also rolling. Jay Perkins up to 10th place that time through. Ryan Hart's working his way around a 19.171, but it wasn't a legal lap. He'll have to go again. And big downshift into turn 3 specifically. So I think we're going to see a little bit of shifting as drivers try to find the best torque. I think third gear was an interesting one. I think maybe up into fourth, back to third. I'm not sure that you go down as low as second, but Hart's goes up to 6th quick as Seidenfeiden.
Yeah, Ryan Hartz was one of the drivers that had an issue with the setup in practice. Like I said, it's not going to be a driver-friendly setup. He was struggling just to get out of pit road, kind of like what we saw with Cameron Hearn. As soon as he got out, just spun out. So it's going to be a handful for a lot of these guys and potentially for Ryan Hartz.
Seidenfeiden on the back straightaway now. It heads off into turn 3. And out of turn 4 this time through. Up across the line in the 45. 20.045. That's only going to be good enough for 14. No, 20.044 puts him P12. And that leaves only Culberson on down. The 81 left to qualify. James Scioli's on track now, just running some laps.
Yep, wouldn't hurt to get a few extra laps in, especially with the setup that these drivers are running. And Scioli's only 9 points to the good entering tonight's race. Even though he won last week at the Roval, it's kind of a reset in the points. And I think we'll actually take a look at that now as we've touched up on some of the drivers who are still in the postseason. And there we go on the screen. Like I said, Jake Nichols in the championship Ford based on the points alone.
Yeah, again, it's, at this point, I mentioned earlier talking about the 88 of Brad Slaughter Jr. that if you're running 8th, 7th, 6th every week, that was good enough to get you to here. But from here on out, you really have to be able to figure out how to get 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nds, and maybe some of those race wins as well. You're not going to continue to move on by running 5th, 6th, or 7th. So Cameron Hearn, Nick Johnson, Ryan Hartz, they've got a little bit of work to do. But Dom DeLeo, James Scioli, they're looking okay if they can keep doing what they're doing. Weishart and, of course, Nichols in a really good spot. So their focus now is just to keep doing what they're doing.
Yeah, and all those guys on the outside looking in, they're all winning cars. Like, they have the potential to win. It's just if they can do it in these next 2 races. And if they can't point their way in, then they're going to be on the outside of the championship come time for the race in Vegas.
Yeah, and again, we got Michigan and Las Vegas still left on the calendar for the season, but Martinsville tonight, qualifying still underway. Rafe Slate in the number 12 is on track right now. He's rolling. He has not laid down a time yet. And across the line he will come and begin his qualifying effort. Let's have a look at the gears now. Bottom right, 3rd gear there. Up to 4th and back to 3rd. So maybe just between 3rd and 4th today, Hunter. I think that's what we'll see most of.
Yeah, it seems like no one's going to even touch that 5th gear in the next gen.
And certainly 2nd would just get you too much wheel spin to work with. So Slate jumps up to 13th that time around. And we'll see if he can go faster on his final lap. A 19.669. Indeed, that's quick enough to put him, I think, 7th quick. Indeed, it will put him 7th. Here's a look at that. Wayne Culberson went 16th fastest, but still waiting on a few others. Tyler Nichols, Forrest Smith, Paul Irvin, Matthew Robinson, and Ed Robertson not putting in qualifying efforts yet.
Yeah, I think those guys are just gonna they're just gonna start from the back and see what goes.
There's Cameron Hearn rolling now, the number 67. Getting a nice wide exit here, but just running some practice laps at this stage, I think. Maybe going for another run.
I'll say I only see him down in 17th. I'm not sure if he ran 2 laps or 1. We know he spun coming out of pit road on the warm-up lap, but
yeah, only 2 laps so far for Cameron Hearn. Through 3 and 4 this time, up out of turn 4. Will it be an improvement? Needs to be a 21.443. There's a 19.539. That'll be good enough for second place. If it counts. Didn't count it, though. I'm not sure if...
He might have scraped the wall coming out of turn 4. I was saying, it looked a little close there, or he ran out of laps to log in qualifying.
Yeah, let's go back a little bit. I want to see if that's potentially what happened. And this is going down into turn 3. Gets it slowed down pretty nicely up towards the middle of the racetrack and then out of turn 4. Yeah, I think he just scraped it, and that was enough to invalidate that lap there, Hunter.
Like you said, it would have been good for second quickest.
James Scioli has those brake rotors glowing in the left front right now. And he has already put down his laps. 19.796. That wasn't any faster that time through. He will stay P8. And brakes, that's going to be another topic. These next-gen cars have a lot larger brakes, a wider track, and more tire than their Gen 6 counterparts, Hunter. So they should be able to slow down a little bit more consistently for a little longer. But I think the extra braking ability makes people, for lack of a better term, a little sendier as well. So there's some danger in that people are going to try to brake later and harder, longer, and there still will be tire, issues later in the run, and over-aggression perhaps can be a topic of discussion, as it always is here at a place like this.
Oh, over-aggression, definitely. And one of the best things about over-aggression is having a good catchphrase for it. I don't know if you've ever heard it, but this is a track tonight, Kyle, where we could see the potential for a Louisiana dive bomb. In other words, it's big send, or like Dale Jr.'s slide job. You're just sending it in on the corner. I just prefer to call it Louisiana dive bomb. So we have the potential to see that. It's a short track, and if they're bumper to bumper on the white flag heading into turn 3, expect to see one of those good old Louisiana dive bombs.
So still waiting for qualifying to complete here at Martinsville Speedway for the Area Elite Entertainment Cup Series, round number 3 of the playoffs. And just 2 rounds remain after this one. Another cutoff race next week at Michigan. And then we'll head into Las Vegas for our season finale in a couple weeks' time, whittling it down to 4 drivers going for it at the tail end of the year. But we've got 23 drivers here. 18 have laid down qualifying times, and the top 2 only separated by 23 thousandths of a second, and the top 10 all within 3.5 tenths of each other. Incredibly close up at the front of the field, especially with a new car and track combination for many of these drivers. As you mentioned, Hunter, area has not visited Martinsville in the past. This is the first time in a long time that we've been here.
Yeah, haven't been here at all for area, so it's something new for all the drivers this week, not only in the Cup Series, but for the Truck and the Lodge Box Series later on this week. But Cup is our first look at it, and it's kind of the other way around for real-life racing. We see the lower series go first, and okay, have a general consensus for Cup. But no, Cup guys are going out first. The big boys are going to put down the tire treads here at the half-mile paperclip Martinsville.
All right, cars loading up here on the grid. So let's kick things off and read the grid to you this time through. Here we go. On row number 1, kicking things off in the number 91 will be Jake Nichols alongside David Weishart in that number 33, Hunter.
Row 2, you're going to find Brad Slaughter in the 88, rolling off P3 and P4. Alan Balancino in the number 70.
In row number 3, Garrett Grant in the number 5, and Ryan Hartz in the number 3 will roll off in 6 at the outside of row 3.
4, you'll find Rafe Slate starting 7th in the 12 car, and starting 8th in the 7 car, James Scioli.
Starting in 9th place will be Dominic DeLeo, the number 22. Nicholas Johnston starts 10th in the number 28.
Row 6, you'll find the 49 of Jay Perkins starting 11th, and starting 12th is the number 1 of Ryan Swan.
Starting 13th on the inside of row number 7 is Chris Seiden, Feiden's number 45. Adam Capps starts in 14th with the number 55.
And in row number 7, you're going to find Jordan Martin in the 15th position and Dwayne Culberson in the 16th position.
All right, starting in 17th, Cameron Hearn in the number 67. James Shane Wolf rolls off 18th in the number 31.
19th is Forrest Smith, 20th Tyler Nichols, and these are the guys who did not put down a qualifying time.
Yeah, this is Ed Robertson in 21st, Paul Irvin in 22nd, and Matthew Robinson will roll off in 23rd without a qualifying time. Up onto the backstretch here. Here's a look at the weather information. 65-degree air temp, 110-degree track temp. That's pretty toasty out there. It's not cool or cloudy by any stretch of the imagination. Partly cloudy. That should help keep track temps reasonable, but it's still going to be very, very hot and slick out there in these next-gen cars.
Yep, should make for some pretty fun racing, and because this is a short track, we'll have 2 pace laps before the green flag flies, so I believe the pace car will come down this time by.
Field gearing up, racked up, stacked up, about 12 rows deep. 8 competitors will be lit up in blue on the timing and scoring. They are your playoff competitors going for the championship at the end of the season, and that end of the season is a lot closer than they'd like to admit. 4 drivers on the bubble, on the cut line, or below the cut line, I should say, coming into the night. We roll through turns 3 and 4, 200 laps going up on the board. If this race goes green from start to finish, it's 1 hour of racing from Martinsville, the half-mile paperclip in Martinsville, Virginia. 200 laps starting now. Green flag flies, and we're racing in Martinsville. Lap 1 complete. Nichols leads the way. Some side-by-side behind them for position. And one car real slow. It's Forrest Smith dropping to the back of the field here on the opening lap.
Yeah, it looked like he lost it there coming out of turn 4. Not sure if he was just trying to get in the back and stay out of harm's way from those that were behind him. But nonetheless, he is still keeping the car going, and we're still green.
So Nichols out front, Weishart, Slaughter, Balacino, Rafe Slade under fire here from Garrett Grant in the number 5 to the bottom of the racetrack through turns 1 and 2, and now up onto the backstretch. Getting a good drive off the bottom is so important here at Martinsville, and Garrett didn't quite have the drive to get up alongside Rafe into turn 3. Here comes Scioli around the outside.
I'll say I'm not sure if the top is more dominant in today's race or the bottom, because it seems like 5 was struggling. We've got a caution out on the track.
Paul Irvin sideways. A couple other cars turned around. Ed Robertson is the other. 2 of the Ford Mustangs towards the back of the field. Turn back around. Caution on lap number 4 as the leaders come on through. Let's see what happened. 48 was behind, and the 64 and the 48 just spin on their own. And the 34
Matthew
car?
Robinson.
Yeah, Matthew Robinson just trying to jam on the binders there, but just kind of tandem spin there through turn number 4.
Yeah, they both lost about at the same time. Robinson nowhere to go into Ed Robertson. And just like that, our first caution of the day here at the paperclip.
And here's a look from Tyler Nichols in the number 79. And those cars just kind of snapped. They just turned around. And the 34 had nowhere to go. The 79 just squeezes through the middle of all that. Little bit of contact, but nothing that should impact or influence his day. But he'll come on down to fix it regardless.
Yeah, it seemed like before then he got out of shape over there in turn 2, and it was actually like a blessing in disguise because he was behind that mess that occurred over there in turn 4.
So caution out here early on lap number 4 here at Martinsville. And again, playoff competitors are the blue ones on the side of the screen. Cameron Hearn didn't start the race. He's got damage. One of our playoff competitors here. Didn't see how this happened, but that car has got a lot of damage on the nose.
Yeah, interesting there.
He scored 4 laps down, so whatever happened must have happened initially before the race even began.
Yeah, that's kind of a confusing one there, and that's something you don't want to see if you're Cameron Hearn. Entered 7 points outside the cutoff, and in the first race of the second round, you don't want to see that happen.
Here's a look at it. This is the initial start of the race. And going off into turn number 1 here. See if we can pick up exactly. Ooh, okay, here's an issue. So it gets off into turn 3 and spins and up into the barriers at the entrance to pit lane.
Wow.
I'll say. And then drove over the curbing, which further damaged the underside of the underbelly of the car. So that is a lot of damage to the nose of that 67. He's lost 4 laps. Now it's a long race, but that damage is pretty significant, Hunter. So I'm not sure how well that car will drive from here on out.
Yeah, that's really odd to see happen here in Martinsville. And shocking that didn't bring out a caution with the way he came back on the racetrack, because something similar happened at Homestead where Garrett Grant spun below the apron. Then when he re-entered the track, the caution came out. So I'm surprised that a caution didn't come out there, and also surprised that the angle in which the 67 spun and then right into the barrels.
But Cameron Hearn, trouble early for one of our playoff competitors as we get the 1 to green. This time through, I think. Yes, we will. The 1 to green, cars racking up, stacking up, and Nichols on the bottom of the racetrack. And you mentioned something interesting, Hunter, that you thought maybe the High Line would have some speed. That's not typically what you think about when you talk about Martinsville, but it seems like in recent years, and maybe with this next-gen car, that the outside line might let you roll enough speed to be competitive up there.
Yeah, it seems like it, at least from their opening stint, although it was very short, it seemed like we saw that top roll better than the bottom.
Out of turn 4, working lap number 10 at 200. Green flag back in the air, racing again from Martinsville. Brad Slaughter Jr. in the 88. Pressure from the 3 car of Hart's behind into turn 3. The 70 of Balacino drops to the bottom. Slate tries to go the long way around.
Yeah, in the back, DeLeo looked underneath the 49 of Perkins, was close to contact, got the position around the 49.
Yeah, the 88 going backwards here. The 3 around the outside. And Slaughter's going to try to slot in, maybe, but Scioli hunting around the outside as well in the number 7. And again, in terms of gearing, 3rd and 4th gear seems to be the popular choice here. And caution spin for Adam Capps in the 55, and the 48's caught up in it again.
Tyler Nichols down on the inside wall as well.
This time, 55 involved. Goes off into turn 3, and it's going to be something very similar. The car just, snapped around, and the 34 kind of walloped him there, and then the other cars kind of piled in after the fact.
Yeah, once again, nowhere to go for Matthew Robinson. The 34 just taps over to Rex Reiner in front of him. 48 and 79 slow down, spin out, trying to avoid the caution, and then they end up being a part of the caution.
Yeah, watch this hit. The 55 back across racetrack and then just stops dead. And then the 48 spins across the track. So does the 79. It seems like these cars are just really on edge in turn 4. Then a driver's side impact there for the number 48. So another issue here early in turn 4 for cars just stepping out. And the track is looking pretty green. There's not a lot of rubber laid down. I wonder if that's part of it, Hunter. But this is something that even you predicted before we went green.
Yeah, the drivers, they run a fixed setup for area iRacing, and the fixed setup here for Martinsville is not one that was liked by the drivers. It was hard to handle for some. I mean, we saw it in qualifying. Hearn spun out on the warm-up lap. He was going probably 40 or 50 miles an hour and just spun out. So we'll have to see how this issue is settled, if it does get settled, as the night rolls on.
You're watching the Area Elite Entertainment Cup Series from Martinsville. My name's Kyle Heyer, joined by Hunter Sleppy as we continue to work our way through our 3rd playoff race of 5 here. We've got Michigan up next week, then Las Vegas for the finale. 15 laps in, 2 cautions so far to slow the progress of the day. Jake Nichols has led every lap so far with David Weishart right behind him and alongside him on those restarts. But the trouble has been single car incidents. That's before we start putting the bumpers to each other.
Yeah, it's been in the same spot too. Turn 4 has been the trouble spot. Kind of like what we saw from real life racing at Pocono over the weekend. Turn 3, not turn 4. Turn 3 was the trouble spot. Cars would spin out and hit the inside pit wall, or nearly hit the pit opening, or the end of the pit wall. They'd hit like just where the Geico restart sign is, and it was a nutty weekend, I have to say. I was over there in Pocono, sat right where that pit entrance was for the Xfinity race, and man, could not believe that you could flip a car at Pocono. But saw Jeb Burton flip, saw a good Xfinity race. But overall, the weekend at Pocono was great, but kind of a similarity between Pocono and tonight, the last corner being a trouble spot for the drivers.
So Jake Nichols has led the laps so far. He started on pole and has been dominant here as he comes into the night. He is leading the points by a pretty significant margin over David Weishart. Now, again, we've seen Jake beat pretty dominant in the past, but we'll see if he can continue to do what he's doing right now. All you're doing right now is just getting good, clean restarts, and everyone else will have to chase you down and pass you. But 1 to green that time through, so the lights are off atop the pace car and coming to the green again.
Being the leader, we've seen early on with the couple restarts that we've had, Jake Nichols, he's been the leader every time. He can go whenever he wants. He just gets that early jump, and there's nothing that second place can do on the outside.
Coming back to the restart, Nichols and Weishart side by side. And green flag back in the air. Good jump by the 91. That time through the 33 did not get a very good one, but he will drop in front of the 70 of Balacino. Whoa, spin behind the 88, Brad Slaughter. He gets slammed by the 11 car of Jordan Martin. That's a big crash out there over by turn 2, Hunter.
Yeah, lost it right behind Rafe Slate over there around the 6th position. Just like that, third caution of the day here at Martinsville. We'll take a look at a replay. Just kind of loses it there in turn 2, sitting around, and then just gets hit driver's side by the 11 of Jordan Martin.
Well, it looks like the left front suspension isn't completely destroyed. That's what I was going to be worried about with the impact from Jordan Martin. Not a lot that Jordan could have done riding on board here with the 11. Watch this, just sees part and nowhere to go and drills the number 88 in the door. But these cars are just so on edge. Just no mechanical grip out here.
No, none whatsoever. And that was in turn 2. They weren't even up to speed yet, and they were still having issues handling the race car.
Yeah, certainly not a good sign of things to come tonight for drivers that are in the playoffs and having something like this take them out. But we'll see what Brad Slaughter can do. The damage doesn't look all that severe, but you just have to wonder how it's handling. Now, this new damage model allows, again, it doesn't look very bad at all, but I think we'll see how long Brad spends here on pit lane, if there's any other damage we can't see.
Might spend a lap on pit road. I believe, is Cameron Hearn the free pass? Who is the free pass car?
I think it's Cameron Hearn. He's the first car that is laps plural down. He's gotten 1 of his 4 laps back. He's now only 3 laps down.
I was going to say, that might be the only driver who's glad to see all these cautions come out, because if they keep coming out like they are, he'll be back on the lead lap in no time. Yeah,
the other thing is that Tyler Nichols and Adam Capps, they appear to be done for the night. 79 down 7 laps and 55 down 10. So you'd have to imagine that whoever sticks in here the longest, whoever makes it to the end of the race is going to finish very well with the attrition that we've seen so far. We're 10% of this race done. We've only had a couple of green flag laps. Here's a look at, actually that's not the analysis I wanted the recap here. We can have a look. 3 cautions for 14 of our 21 laps completed. So that's, what are we looking at? 2/3 of our race has been under yellow. If that trend continues, just survival will be important, and that's great for a guy like Cameron Hearn that already started that by default tonight with that early incident.
Yeah, I'm wondering what this is going to do for the guys in the front of the field, because eventually these guys believe they'll have to come down and make at least 1 pit stop just to make it on fuel. But if we keep seeing cautions every lap or 2 after going back green, I don't know if fuel will be a concern, because these guys could just save under the caution.
Yeah, I think you have to be kind of ahead of it to know that's the case. And I think at one point we'll probably get a green flag run in here, but that might be wishful thinking. We'll see what happens. Jake Nichols, David Weishart. And again, this isn't like these drivers are taking each other out or anything, Hunter. They're just crashing because the setup's very on edge. So not a lot you can really do about that. But they'll have to make do with what they've got.
No, they just lose control of the car, and kind of like what we're seeing. Once you lose that control that you have, the rear of the car will just go away from you, and that's kind of what we've seen all night tonight. Just the rear of the car getting loose from the drivers and just spinning the car around.
So Jake Nichols will lead us into turn 4 again, coming back to the restart and racing once again from Martinsville. Jake Nichols again, a fantastic start. Everybody on ice down into turn 1 and 2. Can they hang on this time? Balacino, wow, on the outside of the 3. That was very tight between him and Rafe Slate. 1 car way high. That's James Scioli out of turn 4, Hunter.
Yeah, Scioli got washed up, but it looked like the 3 was going to make it 3 wide down in turn 3. Did not happen, but now he's looking door to door with Balacino for that 4th spot.
Hart's on the bottom, Balacino on the high side. Rafe Slade a little wide, a little bit of banging doors there at the exit of turn 4, and caution again, this time Seidenfeiden and Ryan Swan. Swan was a little further up the road. Caution out again.
Fourth yellow of the night. Let's take a look at the replay and see what brought out the cautions. We see Swan on the bumper of the Leo, Seidenfeiden on the outside. Seidenfeiden loses it there, and then Swan loses it on the exit of turn 4.
I wonder if also, talking about the transmissions and having to shift, I wonder if drivers having the ability to downshift into a higher rev range is also probably making this even trickier, right? But the thing is they're not even on throttle where they're crashing. They're spinning out mid-corner, which tells me that it might not be related to the shifting.
Yeah, this is a head scratcher for me because it's happening in the same spot. But man, I just can't figure out what is causing this issue. I know the setup's difficult, but man, this is a handful for everyone.
Yeah, I guess I would even say that it's not the downshifts either, because if it was downshifting issues and drivers not rev matching properly, which you do have to do in these cars, these are sequential transmissions that are very similar to the style that you'd see in a V8 supercar, for example. So when you downshift, in order to not shatter the tires, you need to add a little bit of throttle, a little blip to the throttle when you downshift. And if cars were crashing on corner entry, I'd say that that's a downshifting problem. And if it was on exit, I'd say it's spinning the tires with too low of a gear, or too high of a gear, I should say. But mid-corner, it's just a balance issue.
Yeah, kind of what we've been seeing all night long. I don't think we'll see anyone come down pit road for the leaders. It looks like pit road is closed anyways. So if they come down, they're screwing themselves. But now we'll have to see how this plays out for the rest of the night.
So caution out again for the 4th time. Again, here's a look at the recap so far. You're keeping count. The SimTV caution record, I think, is 22, just shy of 24. And we're off to a pretty good start if we wanted to match or beat that tonight. And Hunter, as a spectator of these events, there is a point where cautions are annoying, and then there's a point where you're rooting for the caution count to go up to break the record. And I think the annoying and record crossover is somewhere around 15 to 16 is when I'm like, all right, let's break it. Let's see these guys take each other out a little bit. But until you get to that point, it's going to be a long night for some of these drivers.
Again, kind of like what we saw from the Cup race at Pocono. It started out slow with drivers just continuing to spin and wanted to see a good green flag run. Eventually we got that in, but I'm hoping we'll see that happen for tonight's race at Martinsville, that we'll get a nice green flag run, hopefully after this restart.
So 1 to green here. Lights are out atop the pace car once again. Nichols, Weishart, Slate, Hartz, Vallecino, Perkins are your top 6, your front 3 rows. Then it's Grant and Johnston in the 5 and 28, both Ford Mustangs. Pace car pulls off. We'll try this again. Lap number 31 coming to the restart. Nichols in the Solar Flare Racing purple and teal. Green flag once again from Martinsville.
Please start there on the bottom for Rafe Slate. That's going to allow widest part to settle in on that bottom. Oh, contact there. Perkins getting into Vallecino.
A little bit of argy-bargy here. Vallecino and Perkins coming together. Lock up for the number 5 into turn 3. Everybody scatters in turn 4, and going to be a spin and a crash. The 84, Forrest Smith, turns around, and caution is out again. And once again, the 34, Matthew Robinson, has a car on his front bumper because he's got nowhere to go.
That's strike 3. He's out. This is the 3rd time we've seen Matthew Robinson with nowhere to go. We're riding on board with him. Forrest Smith just loses it and gets a little help from the 34 of Robinson.
Yeah, I don't think the 84 was going to save that. It was too far gone by that point. But a little bit of pushing and shoving down the backstretch, off into turn 3, and a couple of these cars went really high. The 22 pushed the 84 kind of up the racetrack. Maybe got in the marbles a bit too. That could have contributed. The 11 car also nowhere to go for the 2nd time tonight. Look at the 48 for the 3rd time, almost put that car in the fence again. But you alluded to a little bit of contact with Vallecino. Let's have a look at that.
Vallecino, Jay Perkins. Perkins loses it, gets into the door of the 70. And Perkins had a handful coming out of 2 and then coming out of turn 4 again.
Yeah, and right here, the 49 just gets a little bit sideways. And I think the 70 actually keeps him from spinning and heads up the racetrack and almost gets into the wall again. I think who's going to have a really good perspective of this is Nicholas Johnston on board with him.
It's a teammate to Jay Perkins, right behind him in Nick Johnson, the 49. Or Nick Johnson in the 28, Jay Perkins in the 49. But Perkins was slowing down, trying to avoid from hitting the bumper of the 3. And that's what you saw with the rear of the car just getting loose from it.
So caution out once again here at Martinsville Speedway. And looking down from high above for a moment. And again, running order on the left-hand side of your screen. Have a look at the manufacturer running order. Toyota leading. But then it's all Fords and Chevys. Back to 12th place, Dwayne Culberson in the number 81. Then Brad Slaughter on a recovery drive after that spin and collision, and he's still on the lead lap, and that damage doesn't look to be severe at all, just kind of rocker panel damage, side skirt damage, which shouldn't really impact the performance around here too much. At least it didn't break the suspension. That's really what you're trying to do. The bodywork isn't going to matter so much, but the suspension certainly does.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's affected the 88 that much as well, and it definitely hasn't affected the 91 of Jake Nichols. He's led every lap since the drop of the green flag. Won the Cash That Podcast Qualifying Pole Award. Fans, be sure to check out the Cash That Podcast on Spotify. It is a sports betting podcast with Joe Delara and producer Corey as they provide their insight in the world of sports gambling. That was the pole winner for Jake Nichols in the number 91. He's led every lap after winning the pole from the Cash That Podcast qualifying session. And Jake,
go ahead.
I'll say Jake just put in the chat, praying for everyone tonight. Broadcast, admins, drivers. He just put that in now.
Well, again, this is one of those nights that you know when you look at. I told you before the race that if this race went green from start to finish, it would be about an hour and 4 minutes. My prediction now, looking at my calculator, about 53 minutes of racing. So that's how close we are to the checkered. If we could get there under green, my prediction is we will not. So again, that shifts and shuffles a lot throughout the night. And it's one of the predictions that you always have coming to a place like this. You just typically expect it to be multi-car incidents and not single-car spins.
Yeah, producer Corey would probably put money on that it won't go caution-free to the end.
Likely not. Green flag back in the air. Good restart again for Jake Nichols. He has been rock solid on the restarts. For second place, Rafe Slate to the inside of Weishart. He's going to grab that spot away.
Not quite. Weishart putting up a fight on the outside, trying to get the run off the corner to stay alongside the 12 of Slate. Still got a quarter panel there to kind of get a little side shaft on as they head down the backstretch into turn 3.
I'm amazed that Weishart's been able to stick around the outside so long and even make it look like he might. No, he turns and Rafe Slate into the wall. Big crash on the front straightaway and playoff competitors involved. Wow.
Ryan Hartz is in it. And not what he needed to see.
Certainly not. That was a big one. Go back and
looked like the 33 got loose on the outside and clipped the 12 and just sent him into the wall.
Yeah, right there. Wow. Walloped the 3 of Hearts. That's a big hit for the 3. And then the 49 and the 51 and the 22 all just piled in there. Nowhere for them to go. But the 12 was also loose. The 33 spins across the nose. And the 3 just slams the inside wall there. And you hope for his sake that he can get that car repaired. But what a big mess at the exit of turn number 4. Here it is again at full speed.
Man, right behind Perkins, Shane Wolf, and playoff driver Dom DeLeo getting a piece of that.
On board with Brad Slaughter Jr. Just stop. This is when your spotter just tells you stop. Don't try to go through that. Track is completely blocked. Man. That big hit to the nose on the 12 is going to hurt a lot, too. I think Rafe Slate's going to be done for the night. Another caution. That one was a big one, though. 2 cars coming together at the exit at turn 4, and Weishart getting his car repaired and with a fresh set of tires as well. But race slate done for the night, and the 3 critically had a bunch of damage. He is running in second place, though, and that car is shortened up pretty good on the nose, but decided to stay out of pit lane.
Sure if that's going to help the car aerodynamically at all.
Again, I think as long as you keep the suspension from getting damaged, you can probably do okay here tonight. I'm not sure that the bodywork is going to matter a whole lot. I've seen the suspension on these cars be fairly weak, though, at certain impacts, but the 3 got it all in the nose and the tail. But that was about as much as you can crash here at Martinsville, and he's still rolling, so maybe that bodes well for some drivers.
Yeah, and the next gen car's got that new composite body on it, and almost acts like a trampoline, almost like it just bounces off. I remember in the past you'd see cars in the Gen 6 car, they hit the back of someone, then it messes up the transmission, and then the day is done, or the radiator, excuse me. Messes up that, and then that's basically their day. It happened with Dale Jr. in 2017, just hit the back of the car in front of him, and that was basically it. But the next gen car doing well so far, if the 3 of Ryan Hart's can keep it going.
Well, he's going to give it a go. Doesn't seem like, again, that's about as much of a hit as I think you can take around here without just flat flooring it off into the corner. So if that car can survive that, I think you're going to be in a pretty good spot, I'd say. All right, coming back to the green this time through. Here we go. Green flag back in the air. Another solid restart. Clouds have come over the racetrack. A little bit of lockup there from Ballacino into turn 1.
Yeah, Ryan Hart's got a pretty solid restart there on the outside with all that damage to the front of the 3.
Turn 4 has been the trouble spot. Will it be again?
Oh, yep.
Garrett Grant this time. Oh, man.
Oh! They're still piling in. Cameron Hearn's in it.
Seiden Fiden as well. Thought it would happen a little bit later in the corner, so got the camera prepped for it, and it happened ahead of me here. The 5 car was the first car we saw turned around. Garrett Grant. And same thing, just gets loose, spins. Wow, the 67 got walloped.
Seiden Fiden. Here's the onboard of Cameron Hearn.
Oh. That did not sound very good.
And then I think he just drives into the 5. It looked like he drove into the 5 when he was trying to get it turned back in the right direction. But I'm just going to say, these cautions going to help Cameron Hearn a lot unless he's part of the caution, and that is what we just saw.
So Jake Nichols continues to lead. Cameron Hearn, that car looking quite second-hand as it heads down the back straightaway. This is certainly a Craigslist listing that you shoot from the rear, not from the front. No low ballers, I know what I have. He'll head down pit lane. Ryan Hart's, though, again, that car took a pretty big hit, and it's running. And is up in second, so I think he's just out there to prove a point.
Yeah, he is. I mean, like I say, he had a pretty good restart there on the outside, even with all that damage. And we've already seen tonight with the restarts how tough it is just to get going on the outside or even on the bottom, because as the leader, you have such an advantage that we've seen all night long. And, well, I don't know. I thought the 5 went through his pit box, but no, he stopped in.
Yeah, he will have an EOL penalty as well for causing that incident. And I have a feeling that there will be a lot of EOLs for a lot of people tonight. And again, it's not the same people over and over, except for the 34, who actually hasn't caused an incident yet. Matthew Robinson's just been at the receiving end of it, but I have a feeling that the cautions will spread their love around to pretty much everybody at some point.
Yeah, Gary Luce just put in the Twitch chat. By the looks of this is the one night I'm glad I missed the race because of work.
Yeah, this is
a good one.
Yeah, this is one of those races that in the moment you're just hoping and praying it goes green just to get some laps in and get into a rhythm, because the spinning and issue might go away once the tires were warmed up a little bit and you've got some laps on them and some rubber down on the racetrack, but you're never going to get laps in and rubber down if you're doing 40 miles an hour around the track. So it's just got that death zone after a restart when you can't get enough laps to make it comfortable.
This is looking like reminiscent of Phoenix from race 2 of the season, back when we had Full 43 car field. It was just a handful for guys just to have a handle of the car. And we had 18 cautions in that race. And in tonight's race so far, we're 50 laps, about to be 50 laps done. 7 cautions with 37 of them. 37 of the 50 laps run under yellow.
Yeah, just for reference, I think 22 is the SimTV record of cautions. And we're a quarter of the way through the race this time through, and that means we are on track to beat it. Green flag back in the air. Jake Nichols, another early launch out of 4, but this time Hartz gets a much better restart. Will drag race him off into turn 1. Trouble behind him. 31 cars turned around. Caution.
I was just going to say, it looked like Johnson was going to give Hartz a run for his money for that second spot, but the 31 goes into the wall in turn 1.
I'll say he went into the wall. He walloped it. If it was all on his own or if he had some help. He was slow and then late on the brakes into turn 1 maybe, and ooh, what happened there?
Someone else took control of that 31 car, just took a sharp right into the wall. That was strange.
Yeah, here's a look at it again. I wonder if this is almost a hardware failure. If did he get net? What happened? Maybe net code from the 88, but it just snapped right in a really unnatural way. I'm not really sure about that. Wow.
Yeah, that is a strange one indeed.
Make that caution number 8. And Jake Nichols just leading free laps right now. That's got to be good for him, right?
Yeah, it helps a lot. It would already add to his point total. He entered tonight plus 48 to the cutoff line. Leading a lap is a bonus point. Got that there. Having a race with 0 incident points. If things go the way they're going, he might have that. Leading the most laps is another bonus point. And most importantly, winning just locks yourself into the championship 4.
So all he's got to do is lead for another 40-something laps, and he could pick up that extra bonus point for leading the most laps. And he hasn't really had to do much other than nail the restarts lately, which as the leader, you have a little bit of an advantage there.
Yeah, but that advantage starting to go away a little bit. We saw the best restart of the night on the outside line with Ryan Hartz in the 3. Although he does have damage to that car, like you said, I don't think it's affecting it that much, if not probably one of the rare instances where you hit the wall and it makes the car better. But in this case with Ryan Hartz, he pancaked the front of that car. And if it made it better, then, hey, it's working.
And Nicholas Johnson in the 28 up to 3rd from his starting spot of 10th, so he's going forward. Ballacino has gone effectively nowhere after the first 55 laps. James Scioli up a couple in the number 7. Dominic DeLeo, by the way, 9th up to 7th. And Brad Slaughter Jr. has been up and down the order already a couple times tonight, but here he rides right now in 6th.
Yeah, he was one of the early cautions after getting T-boned on the door by Jordan Martin in the 11, and Jordan Martin's still out on track. Looking at it, Matthew Robinson's in the top 10. He's been involved in, I think, half of the cautions, if not more, and not of his own doing, just getting caught up with nowhere to go. But that 34 car is still trucking along.
Yep.
P10 on the track.
And he's only taken the hits on the nose, so it's not like he's gotten every side and panel knocked off. He just took the hits in the same spot lap after lap. It's working out for him. He's top 10 right now. Just plow through it as the field doubles up here. Okay, the record is 24 cautions, the SimTV record. And it was January 11th, 2020, the Outsider Racing League right here at Martinsville.
And for that most recent caution, the EOL was given to the 31 and the meatball flag as well.
Got to get that fixed. Green flag back in the air once again. And spin, 84, Forrest Smith.
No caution yet. We stay green.
Oh, there are 33 Weisharts up in the wall, and caution.
Yep, there's the caution.
I think he just lost it, same that everyone else has been doing, just gets in here hot, up in the marbles. Let's go back a little bit farther, see if there's more to this story.
Jordan Martin there to the inside. No, he just carried it up the track, lost it, and overcorrected.
He almost had it, too. Almost had it picked up. All right, so that puts us at 9 yellows.
9 cautions.
All right, so if we're doing the math here, I think we're still on track.
We're on pace. Like you said, we had 7 in the first quarter, so we're on track for 28 cautions. Oh, man.
So Jake Nichols, Ryan Hartz, Alan Ballacino, Nicholas Johnson, they traded spots there on that restart, and that's notable because Johnson was on the inside, so lost a position. James Scioli in the number 7 is right behind, and notably, a lot of these drivers don't have any damage on their cars, and we talked earlier about just surviving is critical in a race like this, and they've done just that so far. If you're in the top 5, you've been a survivor of this race so far, and I say that knowing the 3 has already been through the ringer and back.
Yeah, this has been quite a race. I mean, cautions galore. That most recent one we saw was with the 33 of Weishart. He entered tonight plus 13 to the cutoff line. Had a good starting spot, but this is not a race where you want to put yourself in a pickle next week at Michigan.
Well, look at the playoff standings right now. Besides Jake Nichols, the other 3 of the top 4, or the bottom 4 in that list, Hearn, Johnson, Hartz, and Slaughter. Johnson, Hartz, and Slaughter are in the top 6 right now. Weishart, Scioli, well, Scioli's up there as well, but Dom DeLeo and David Weishart are down the order quite a bit. So, well, I guess Dom's only in 7th, so not too bad, but still a little bit of shuffling here, especially if Johnson and Slaughter can get up in the mix in the top 3 or 4. So drive-through penalty for the car number 33 under green because he caused that caution the second time around. So that will be a drive-through under green flag conditions. That will probably put you close to, if not a lap down.
Might not even bring him a lap down if we have another caution come out.
Good point. Good point. So will he get a chance to serve that penalty? That's the real question.
I think he'll serve it, but he'll enter under green and then he'll come out under caution.
I mean, that's a good scenario for him, I'd say. I mean, yeah, I of all the times they get a penalty, I think tonight is a good time to get one. 1 to green, lights are out atop the pace car again. And re-rack them
tonight. I was going to say, we're going to re-rack them and stack them again, presented by Elite Entertainment. We would like to thank Elite Entertainment for their support of the Elite Entertainment Cup Series, and from all of us here at Area. Be sure to check out Elite Entertainment on Facebook. Book them to DJ your next event.
All right, doubled up. Turn 3 coming to the restart. Hartz and Nichols on the outside and the inside respectively. The 91 is the control car. Roll out of turn 4. Back to the restart. Back to the green flag here at Martinsville. We're racing again. For how long? Bit of shuffling in the background, 3 wide into turn 1. As here comes Johnson on the outside of Hartz for second.
Trying to get that run on the outside of the 3. Not going to work just yet. Nearly hits the wall. Ballacino in 4.
Made it a lap.
Yep, and I believe the 33 is on pit road serving that penalty as yep, there he is right there, coming down pit road. Hartz got loose there coming out of the corner. Johnson up to second. Ballacino and 7 to Scioli, bumper to bumper.
All right, we made it a couple laps now. This is our longest green flag run, I think, believe it or not. Down into turn 1. Cars side by side. There's the 81 of Dwayne Culberson. We haven't talked a lot about him tonight because he started towards the tail of the field, but he's up to 11th in the blue Solar Flare racing car, chasing Matthew Robinson, who we noted has survived a whole bunch of front-end collisions tonight.
Yeah, they're all just trying to get settled in now, and I think they're doing a good job at it. The 33 of Weishart only lost 1 lap, so right now I believe he's in the lucky dog position.
Yes, right now he is the lucky dog driver. And Nicholas Johnson reeling in Jake Nichols here. And now that we've got some green flag racing, he's got an opportunity to run down and pass him, which could be a pretty critical point. There's a car on the wall.
Slaughter.
Brad Slaughter out of turn 2.
Keeping that car straight, though. Boy, they are stacked up behind that 88. Swan on the inside.
Oh, the 34.
Robinson!
Oh, can you hang on to it? He does. Wow.
What a job from the 34 of Robinson, not to spin that car out and keep it straight. But yeah, it's a stack up behind that 88.
Yeah, he tried to spin it out, couldn't quite get it to do it. But, wow, one car chucks it in there. That's Forrest Smith. That wasn't even close. And he's going to slide across the road. And he also saves it.
Almost again in front of the 34.
Again, he is the unluckiest driver in the field tonight. There's Dominic DeLeo in the 22 on the outside of Paul Irvin. This is for 8th place.
Swervin Irvin's had a good, I wouldn't say good, he's had an up and down night.
Hey, has anyone had a good night other than maybe Jake Nichols and Nicholas Johnston?
Probably Cameron Hearn. He's back on the lead lap inside the top 10.
91 was a little loose out of turn 4. I think he's showing some weakness here to that number 28. Here's the battle for the lead.
Yep, Johnston trying to become the 5th different winner in the Cup Series. In the previous 4, we've had a different winner, trying to make it 5 in a row now.
Battle for the top spot here at Martinsville, working lap number 72 of 200. After a barrage of early caution flags, some green flag racing, Hartz, Ballacino, and Scioli fight for 3rd. And then how about for 7th, Brad Slaughter Jr. going the wrong direction. Here comes Cameron Hearn on his recovery drive with a very damaged 67, takes 7th place away.
Hearn needing a solid run, 7 points outside of cutoff heading
Spin
into
crash.
tonight.
Jordan Martin, turn 4.
Well, there's the caution now.
Took us a little longer to get to it that time. Here's a look, and same thing. Mid-corner, the car just steps out on him and loops it around. The 84 almost does it again. And again, the 34 had to dodge it, as always. But we're seeing that 91 isn't invincible, though. I think that 28's a hair quicker right now.
Seems like it. Not sure if we'll be seeing these guys come down pit road. Oh, no, pit road is closed, so, yep. Don't want to do that. Johnson just swerved to avoid hitting that orange box.
Don't get yourself a penalty doing something silly like that. But closing in on the halfway point of this race in a little bit. Maybe you just pit just to do it. You see a handful of drivers come on down. And that is right.
Juan Hearn. Believe that is Slaughter as well coming down pit road.
Yes.
Good bit of guys.
DeLeo as well, the 84. Forrest Smith is on pit lane.
Swervin Irvin down there as well.
Tires as well, yeah. So Goodyear tires, I don't know, Hunter. I'm not sure. I think tires are mattering a whole lot. They're not sticking into the road very much. I'm not sure how helpful new ones will be.
Well, Paul Irvin's going to come out in front of all those guys. Well,
yeah,
almost all of them.
I wonder if, well, it took 4 tires. I wonder if a fuel only is a play tonight. Just to get the track position. I don't know how much tires are going to matter if no one can keep them down on the racetrack anyway. I think you just fuel up, make sure you're good to the end, and then just ride it out from here.
Yeah, we'll have to see what the front runners do whenever they come in, because these guys will have to make a pit stop at some point for fuel. But we'll see if they just do fuel only or if they do any tires, left side, right side, or just change the whole 4.
I just think track position's your play, right? I think tires will be great if we got long green flag running. You can use them. But when we have cautions that are only 1 to 8 to 10 laps apart, you don't really have a lot of opportunity to utilize that fresh rubber, and you might as well just grab the track position and stay out front.
Yeah, we'll have to see, because in real life with the next gen road courses and short tracks, it's all about track position. And we've seen it carry over into the road courses that we've run with the next gen car. We'll have to see if that translates the same thing with Martinsville.
124 laps to go. We have had 10 caution flags the first 77 laps. We have had 26 laps of green flag racing of the 76 that we've completed.
And of those 76 that we have completed, 0 lead changes. Jake Nichols has led every lap still. But that 28 car of Johnston had something for him over that last green flag run, and we'll see what he can do on the outside lane coming up to the restart.
Yeah, now that Johnson is sharing this front row here, I think he'll have a shot at stealing this away. It's going to have to get up on that wheel and go for it and hope that he can just nose ahead. He doesn't have to clear him as long as he can just be ahead by the next restart. And all that might be is just getting the nose out in front and waiting for someone behind to trigger a yellow, and then you get that inside lane for the next restart.
Yeah, I'm interested in seeing the 3 of Ryan Hartz, because he's been able to go on the outside, but he's going to restart right behind the leader. See if he can try and time it right with the 91.
Lap 79, green flag back in the air. Good start for Nichols. But Johnson chucks it down into turn 1. Not going to be able to stay alongside, though.
He gave it a shot.
I think they're figuring it out here, Hunter. I think they got it this time. And Nicholas Johnson is right there behind the number 91.
Closing in on that bumper. Don't want to be too aggressive here. Don't want to use the bumper too soon. Then that 91 could keep it in the back pocket and use his bumper for later.
Yeah, don't make enemies this early in the race. Cameron Hearn and Swerve and Irvin trading spots. Hearn grabs 10th place away. Now Johnson's got to figure out how to get around the 91. He's there. It's just a matter of finding some racing room where the 91 is not.
Hey, he's making that bottom work, but I feel like if he wants to pass him cleanly, he's going to have to do it on the outside or just send it on the inside whenever he gets a chance to.
One car of Swan is turned around backwards. Well, backwards, I guess he didn't go all the way around here. Here's a quick look. Gasses it up and just loses it and just bounces off the inside wall.
Still green. That did not trigger a caution.
Still green indeed. And Johnston can smell that lead. He just can't taste it quite yet.
Can catch him, can't pass him. And right behind, oh, might see a pass. Balancino on the bumper of the 3 of Hearts for the 3rd spot. But behind the top 5, we got a conga line forming with Dwayne Culberson.
Yeah, there's Dwayne Culberson, Garrett Grant, Brad Slaughter Jr. Grant and Slaughter we've seen sideways, and wow.
Irvin.
He locked that thing down, and Chris Seidenfeiden did a heck of a juke to avoid running into the back of him. That was about as close to get to crashing without doing it.
They call him Swerving Irvin for a reason. I mean, he kept that car rolling.
He sure did. Big slide for the 88 of Slaughter, and into the wall on the front straight.
Oh, that's not going to help his car at all. It did not trigger a caution once more, almost similar to what we saw a few laps ago with the 1 of Swan.
Yeah, just seems like once it starts wobbling, it's really hard to catch it again. And you kind of have to bounce it off of something, whether it's a competitor or the fence, to stop it from doing that death wiggle. Top 5 breakaway here, though. Slaughter and Grant trading spots for 8th place. Here's Forrest Smith and Ed Robertson down for 14th.
David Weishart looking like he's a couple more laps down. I believe he's 3 laps down now in that 33.
Yep, 3 laps back for the 33. And Jordan Smith is 1 lap down. So is Jordan Smith is 1 lap down. So he would be the free pass recipient on the next caution flag. James Scioli and this is Hernan Culberson, rather, for 6th. And for that top spot, it's still close. And Johnson is wearing out Nichols here. He hasn't hit him yet, but getting pretty close. And there's lap traffic coming, too, so let's factor that in.
We're catching lap traffic, and I believe that first car... Oh, never mind. Forget that. Caution's out.
And it's right in front of the leaders.
Right in front of the leaders.
Wow, that was a little tight. And it's Swan again. Struggle that he ended up losing that battle there. Here's a look, and just sideways and spins.
Almost does sort of like a burnout. Oh. Whoa! Oh, no, you do not want to do that, and he just did that.
Adam Capps.
Here's what 55 happened. Is not going to be happy.
Yeah, they come through turns 1 and 2. Caution's out by this point, but can't see a lot. Man, that's a hard hit.
Wow. I was going to say, they were catching lap traffic, and the first car that they were catching was Jake Nichols' brother, Tyler Nichols. But fortunately, we did not see anything occur with the lap traffic. Was close to seeing that, but now we see some of the top 5 come down pit road. Ryan Hartz, Alan Balancino down. Don't think we'll see anyone else come down pit road, as we're under caution once again here at Martinsville.
Yeah, just those 2 runners, the 70 and the 3 on down. So Hartz and Balancino coming to get fresh tires perhaps, and maybe a little bit of body work and repairs. But Jake Nichols has led every lap still. He's led all 91 that we've completed. If he can make it past the next restart, Hunter, he will automatically claim the point for leading the most laps, and all he's really had to do is not spin the car out.
Yeah. Looking in the chat, Rafe Slate has actually just dropped in saying, well, that was fun while it lasted. Yeah, we finally got some green flag laps in. It was some good, hard racing.
Yeah, there was some good action there once we got going green. It's just the very sensitive mid-corner handling here is what's been the challenge tonight. But Jake Nichols, Johnson, and Scioli now runs third with the drivers that pit ahead of him. This is going to be an interesting car to watch. Here's again a look at your points picture coming into the night after the Roval. And our previous 4 drivers eliminated. So Hearn, Johnson, Hartz, and Slaughter are below the cut line. But again, as things shift and shuffle, you got Nichols up front, Scioli up front, and Hearn's in the top 5 now. So you can, and Johnson throw up there as well. So I think you're looking at guys like Dom DeLeo, David Weishart, the ones that are going to take the biggest hit in the points. And then the 88, it has been up and down for Brad Slaughter Jr. tonight. He runs 6th at the moment.
Yeah, I got to say, other than Jake Nichols, the driver that's had a really stellar race has been that 28 of Nick Johnson. You just saw 13 points outside the cutoff. Heading into tonight, he's running in 2nd. And you mentioned it. If you were running around the top 10 in the last couple of races in the opening round, yeah, that would get you into the round of 8. But in order to make that championship 4, you would have to run 5th, 4th, 3rd, 2nd, or pull off a win. And we're seeing the 28 do just that, running in 2nd.
So Nicholas Johnston trying to make do with what he's got and work his way up in the points. Again, we head to Michigan next week, which you cannot really get more opposite in how you drive a racetrack between Martinsville and Michigan. So that'll be an interesting one. I also haven't really seen a 2-mile race with the next-gen car yet, so I'm excited to see how that plays out. Again, this car puts a lot more in the driver's hands. They are challenging to drive is what I've discovered, Hunter. A mid-corner especially, they can be kind of icy in terms of how they grip up, but they can be pretty fun, and a 2-mile track is going to be really interesting next week.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see there. And like you said, complete opposite. You're almost always on the brake here at Martinsville, and in Michigan, you're almost always on the gas there. Complete polar opposite.
Green flag for Jake Nichols, and he fired off really early that time, and it caught the 28 sleeping.
Not too much, still on the outside of that 91. Going to get a little wide. Tuck it back in as one car near the wall on the outside. That's Robinson in the 34.
I think that was Seidenfeiden rather in the 45.
Oh, yeah, it was Seidenfeiden, yep.
But he got way up the racetrack in turn 2 and managed to hang on to it. Here's the 3 coming back forward after the pit stop. That's Ryan Hartz on the inside. 3 wide into 1. Oh. Almost didn't work out there, Hunter.
14 points out.
Oh, crash.
Crash. Was it the 3?
Boris Smith.
Oh, that did not trigger a caution. He's going to get back going, though.
Well done. We stay green. Alacino worked his way by Seidenfeiden. But Nichols has established a half a second lead now and doesn't have the pressure that he had prior to the restart. So that really worked out for the number 91.
Pressure yet. That 28 can reel him back in, though, but can't quite figure out a way to pass him just yet.
Yeah, last time by, he was a couple hundredths of a second quicker. The 28, I think, is faster, but he just stalled out behind the 91 last time. Here's a trade in position, the 88 by the 81. Brad Slaughter Jr. back up inside the top 5. Brad's doing a good job recovering from that early incident. He's trying to make up all the points he can and make sure he's still a factor come next week.
Yep, now the top 5 are all playoff contenders, and 6 of the top 10 playoff contenders. Got to go back to Dom DeLeo there running in 10th, and right behind him is Ryan Hartz in the 11th spot.
Oh, big bobble for the 22. Hartz thought about it, but lock up into turn 1 for DeLeo, and Hartz will drop to the bottom.
DeLeo, got close to that wall.
And the 70 of Balacino is going to kick him while he's down and drop to the inside and put DeLeo back to 12th. This is not going the way the 22 needs it to go, and you could say the same for Weishart, who's now trapped 3 laps down. Ryan Swan still ahead of him, 2 laps down. Caution. I don't know who this one's for, to be totally honest.
I would have to assume either the 1 or the 11. I can't really put my finger on it. What brought out that caution?
Adam Capps, I think, is the one that brought this out. Let's go back and see. No? Is the yellow flag already out by this point? No. Okay. Up into turn 4. Don't really know, to be honest. I didn't see anybody go particularly slow.
Yeah.
Watching from high above here at the time of caution to see if we can point out what happened. But I don't see anybody that came to a stop. I'm struggling to figure out how that could have happened. Oh, there it is. It was the 55 out of turn 4. I was just a little bit jumping the gun here. And he'll get a drive-through penalty for this one, the second time he's had an incident tonight. And here's a look at it in turn 3.
We solved the mystery, and it occurred in turn 4 once again, almost similar to what we saw from his first incident. We're just overcorrects right into the turn 4 wall.
Yeah, just charged the corner a little hard, runs up into the marbles, and then it's game over. And for the 55, he was 41 laps down, so this night has already not gone very well for him. I'm not sure the drive-through is going to do a lot for him.
Speaking of drive-through, we're going to go ahead and try and drive through the top 10 here under caution for our top 10 rundown presented by Swift Lifestyles. Fans, be sure to visit our sponsor Swift Lifestyles for clean supplements to help improve your focus in gaming. Use discount code AREA iRacing for 15% off your entire order. We would like to give a big thanks to Swift Lifestyles for their continuous support of Area iRacing, as Jake Nichols has clinched the most laps led. He has been the only driver to lead a lap tonight. Really, nothing much else to say. He's been fast. He's been up front. No one's been able to get around him. The driver behind, though, he's had a handful. Hearn's been involved in a couple of incidents tonight. He's rallied all the way up to second after, I believe, the 28 of Johnston came down pit road. But a solid rebound for the 67 of Hearn. We'll see what he does in the second half. Scioli coming off that win from the Charlotte Roval. Points reset, plus 7 to the good. Really hasn't been in any cautions tonight. So solid third place there for that number 7. Driver behind, can't say too much. Been an up and down night for the 88 of Brad Slaughter. Entered 14 points outside the cutoff. Started third, runs fourth. Has had an eventful night. 81 of Dwayne Culberson also been in the thick of it as well. Started back around 16th and is currently inside the top 5. Right behind him, the 5, well, not to the outside, Garrett Grant. He has also been near some of the action as well, but still running in the 6th position. 7th, Paul Irvin, Swervin' Irvin in that 48 car. He living up to the nickname, Swervin'. Robinson's been involved in quite a bit of carnage, none of his own doing, just getting caught up in it. Valentino's has a solid top 5 car over in the 70, and then the 3 of Hearts has damage on the front of this car, but it's still fast, and the green flag's back out here at the paperclip.
Lap 108 of 200, restart, and Jake Nichols continues to lead the way, and a little bit of shuffling. Look at the 5 car to the inside of Dwayne Culberson into turn 3. Big dive on the binders. Can he get it slowed down? Double wide behind him, Robinson and the 48 of Paul Irvin.
That's going to be tight in turn 1. Here comes the 5 of Grant to the inside of Culberson for that top 5 spot. Doors shut on the 5. Swervin' Irvin. Ooh, nearly swerving there out of turn 2.
Into turn 3 now. Still door-to-door between the 34 and 48 Mustangs. And whoop, slide by the 70 of Balacino. He gathers it up. That could have been a big mess on the front straight, but he kept it straight. And Nicholas Johnson with a fresh set of Goodyears is charging through the field.
Going to have to be careful working his way through the field, as we've seen the 48. Now the 3 trying to keep their cars going straight. They're still door-to-door. Robinson going to get close to that wall. Might have clipped it coming out of turn 4.
I heard a little bit of a scrape there. I do think he's touched it, but it's not going to cost him a whole lot of time. Here comes the 70 of Balacino to the inside, though.
Balacino trying to pass Robinson for that 9th position. He's going to take it away from the 34. The 3 down below underneath the 81 of Culberson for P6 going into turn 1.
Good battle here up front. No changes. Jake Nichols and Cameron Hearn. Look at this fight, though, into turn 3. The 3 cars got it. Moves by Culberson, and Johnson is following his way through. And behind, crash, the 34 goes around.
Him and Paul Irvin collide in turn 4 and brings out yet again another caution here at Martinsville.
Yeah, he and Irvin get together here on a late corner. 48, they kind of, again, just get hooked together on the side, and the 34 goes into the wall. Hits the front end, which is good because that's the only thing he's hit so far, so he can just continue to not address the damage on the nose. It's not hurting him too much.
Nope, at least not yet. But if he keeps hitting the wall with the front of the car, it's going to affect it at some point.
Caution out again. I wonder if Jake Nichols will take this opportunity to hit pit lane, not this time by, but perhaps next time. You'd think he'd have to come at some point, but then again, with all the caution running we've had, maybe he's been shutting the car off.
He does have the highest I rating in the field, so maybe he knows a thing or two more than the rest of the field does.
Well, I can tell you this. I don't think we're still on schedule to break the SimTV caution record, which may or may not be a good thing depending on how you look at it. We have had 13 in the first 115 laps. So we're aiming for about 20 to 22. That seems to be like where we're going to end up. But the frequency has been slowing down a little bit, Hunter. So I think we'll probably end up probably around 18 to 20, somewhere in there.
18 is the record for area iRacing, and it was in the Cup Series at Phoenix earlier this season, where it seemed like couldn't make it 2 laps without a caution coming out. But early on, it seemed like that was going to be the case, that we were on pace for 28 cautions, but we're past halfway, only 13 cautions. But like you said, Kyle, the frequency of the yellows are starting to die down a bit. The green flag racing is starting to tick up a little more, but as we get closer to the end of the race, we're probably going to see some more beating and banging, which could lead to more yellows.
All right. Well, Finian's doing some stat searching for us behind the scenes. The most most cautions in a Martinsville race was on May 4th of this year. It had 267 laps, and there were 38 cautions, which means that 69%, nice, of those laps were under caution.
That sounds very nice. Also looking through from that previous caution that just came out, deemed a racing incident, so no one given the EOL.
All right, so racing incident there. Yeah, we are not even, we're just over 50% of our laps being yellow at this point. Yeah, so
also got to give a shout out to Finian for producing all week last week as Kyle was away. Finian did a great job producing for all 3 area series, and was a blast covering the Charlotte Roval with him for 2 of the 3 nights. Does a good job.
Yeah, Finian comes in clutch because he's gotten me out of a couple jams. I had to extend my flight another day because the loadout for the trade show I was at, we didn't get our cases to load our simulators until the time I was supposed to leave for my flight. So I had to extend my trip a day, and Finian was able to take hold of that and grab it, and it ended up working out. But yeah, it was a little messy, and Finian's always there to save the day. So he did a good job, and glad to be back, though, with you, Hunter, for the next couple of rounds, the last 3 rounds of the season as we come out of turn 4. Lap 119, Nichols in the lead again, green flag. Good clean restart into turn 3, though. Look at the 28 carving his way through the field. 1 car high, it's Brad Slaughter. Oh, boy, that was tight.
Yep, they're able to navigate through him fine. He's going to potentially lose that top 10 spot. Running in 9th right now. Dom DeLeo up to 8th. Culberson in 10th.
A little lockup there from the 84 into turn 3, but he got it wood down. We saw the 64 on the previous restart kind of bounce off the fence in the background, but he's back forward again. That's Ed Robertson.
The Muffin Man trying to keep that 64 rolling.
45 of Seidenfeind's been turned around backwards once or twice tonight. Trying to hustle his way back around the outside of the 48. Swervin Irvin.
He's got a spin in the back. It's Ryan Swan.
Keeps it straight, bounces off the wall. He's done that a couple times tonight where he's ended up in the fence, but keeps facing the right direction so the caution doesn't deploy. And for the lead, Cameron Hearn is trying to reel in Jake Nichols. Last time by, gained a 10th on him.
I'll say I made the same mistake you did a couple times throughout the season. 67 and 7. Similar colors. They're not teammates, but they run eerie similar colors.
There's Hartz and Balacino running 5th and 6th. And Garrett Grant and Dominic DeLeo. And DeLeo moving forward, again, down the order here in the playoff competitor list. So he's got to make up some positions. If he can finish, ahead of Hartz or ahead of Johnson, one of those two, if he can be the 4th driver on that list in the lighter colored blue, I think he'll be in a good spot. But if you're 5th on down in the blue, then you're not going to have such a good playoffs here heading into Michigan next week. Johnson passed Scioli for 3rd.
Weishart's still 3 laps down, trying to see if he can get a few more cautions to get it back on the lead lap, but his 13-point cushion is going out the window. Yeah,
and the other challenge he has is Swerven Irvin's going slow out of turn 4. The other challenge he has is now there's 2 cars ahead of him, Forrest Smith and Jordan Martin, that are laps down, so they're going to get the advantage over him when we get our caution flag next. So he's not going to get a free pass for a while, which is going to frustrate him. And it just sucks to get trapped like that, Hunter. And it's going to come down to next week at Michigan for Hunter, or for David rather. He's going to have to execute at the 2-mile track.
Yeah, and he's really been solid all season long. That 33 car has, but no, wrong time to have a bad night.
On the front straight, there's the 88 of Brad Slaughter Jr. and Dominic DeLeo. Slaughter getting the job done, getting back by after that slip up on the restart.
Spaced out throughout the field now.
Brake rotors beginning to glow a little bit now that we've got some usage in them. As we approach 70 laps to go, they tick by very quickly at under 20 seconds a lap. And Nichols and Hearn out front now. Nichols is not feeling the pressure like he did when Johnson was in 2nd place, but Johnson is the quickest car. Oh boy.
It's Forrest Smith and James Sheenwolf right on the front stretch as the leads were coming out of turn 4. Caution back out once again here at the paperclip. We'll go ahead and take a look at a replay and see what caused the two to get in that pickle.
Go back a little further here into turn 3. There's Shane Wolf. And I'll bet you right mid-corner. Yep. Starts to snap and gets a little help from the 64. And Forrest Smith just finishes him off.
A little help from the Muffin Man there, the 64 of Ed Robertson, on board with what Forrest Smith saw. Hi, neighbor. And goes right on by.
Just drag him sideways like he's in a semi-truck pushing a Toyota Tercel down the highway sideways. Couldn't see him. Unsighted there. So here's the interesting scenario now. Does Jake Nichols have the fuel to make it to the end? I mean, he's got to have been saving, but this is such a... We've had so many caution laps, is what I'm saying, Hunter, that I have no idea what the fuel scenario is for those that haven't pit yet. There's only a couple of them, Nichols and Scioli and Culberson. Pretty much everybody else has pit or is currently pitting. Nicholas Johnson has pitted, so he's, in theory, good to go to the end. But what about Nichols and Scioli and Culberson? Do you think they're good to the end?
I'm not 100% sure. I mean, we know that Jake Nichols has been able to stretch it with older tires, but without pitting at all for fuel, I'm not 100% sure if he can make it.
Yeah, but we do know that Johnson would be good, and he's been faster than the 91, so you'd have to assume that if all things stay this way, Nichols will have to pit and turn the lead over to the 28. So this has been smart racing. I think Johnson saw the trend of the race and kind of figured, hey, if I pit now, I'm going to lose track position, but I can work my way back up forward, and then I'm done pitting for the night, and I can just focus on driving. I like that strategy. I like that call. I think it's going to pay off for him, but we'll have to wait another 20 minutes or so to see how it'll pay off.
Yeah, and he was right in the thick of it as well, trying to work his way back up to the front with all the carnage going on back around 10th or so. He got himself out of that hornet's nest, and now he's seeing a little bit of a cleaner view. Still has that 91 car, Jake Nichols, in front of him.
Brad Slaughter Jr. just came down to pit lane again and shuffles back to 11th. And again, it's been up and down for the 88. He's been kind of all over the place, but he hasn't tasted the top 3 or 4 yet. as the 84 awaits on the front straightaway. So curious to see if Brad is going to focus now all forward. Again, I think Johnson's strategy of pit early and get it over with is a good one tonight, especially if you can't make it to the end on fuel with your original tank. Just get your pitting done and then just take the lead when everyone else has to stop.
Yeah, and that most recent caution, no EOL given out, deemed a racing incident by the admins, Eric Weiland and Pierce Maffin. Looks like Jacob Hudson has decided to stroll on into the admin tower as well. Don't typically see him for the cup side of things, but he is in there with the two of Weiland and Moffitt. They've had a busy night.
They have had a busy night, and it might get busier here. The other thing we have to consider, Hunter, is now that we're getting closer to the end of the race, does the desperation start to pile on for those that know they're not going to have a lot of opportunities to chase the leader down? Will that make the racing rougher up front? It's not going to take a lot to turn somebody around. We've seen that.
Through here, we're about to go back green. It's going to be interesting to see what the 28 does on this restarter. He's been able to go on the outside. Well, not this time. Green flag back out though at Martinsville.
Yeah, great restart. Nichols is accelerating right at the point that Johnston can't see him very well and can't do much about it. The 22 and 81 almost come together there. Johnston tried to accelerate up the outside of the 91, but he couldn't do it. He falls in line now. Big dive to the bottom in turn 3, but can't get overlap.
Or he tried it. He was going to make contact, that's why he had to back out. Swan up and out of the groove. Going to try and get that one back rolling, but 28 Johnston saw an opening, but didn't go for it.
Now mid-pack here is going to get very scary on this opening laps after the restart. Everybody trying to get as much ground as they can in the short time they're going to have to do it. The 88 now fighting, lots of smoke kicked up in the air from somebody. And Nichols is driving away the one car again.
He is in the wall.
Wow.
Well, he's trying to... In the console days, we'd say that's wall riding. Just send it into the corner and just bounce off the wall and keep going, but not an advantage here tonight.
No, it seems like as soon as you get out of that inner concrete area, as soon as you slip up into the upper grooves, it's kind of game over in terms of your lateral grip. So, the 84 is going to rough him up just a little bit through there, the middle of the corner. Meanwhile, up the road, the 67 of Cameron Hearn gets by the 22 of Dominic DeLeo. And Johnson is beginning to run down Jake Nichols, but it's about a half a second gap right now, a little bit more.
We know the 28 can reel in the 91, but can't quite figure out a way around him as Slaughter and Culberson, door to door. Slaughter's going to take away 8th from Culberson.
60 laps to go this time through. Only take us about 19 minutes to do it if we can get to the end under green. The 7 and 70 battling for position. Big slide for Scioli.
Hearn was looking a little slow there coming out of turn 2. Caution actually back out. 48 of Paul Irvin.
Torvin Irvin goes for a swerve in turn number 2. And same thing we've been seeing, kind of locked it down. And, he got hit from behind from the 1. 84 got a piece of it as well. All right, so if you're Jake Nichols, I think the time to come is now. Well, maybe not right now when the pit's open. If you've got a pit, you're going to do it here. I don't think you want to put yourself in a situation where you got to pit in the last 20 or 30 laps. That doesn't seem very smart, but we'll see what Jake does.
Yeah, I'll be impressed if the 91 can go all 200 laps without pitting. I mean, I know we've had a lot of cautions and we've had a lot of opportunity to save fuel under the caution, but if he doesn't pit, this will be just flawless from Jake Nichols and that 91 Solar Flare team.
Yeah, and I've heard that the 34 had crashed before a caution flew. Go back and see if we can find that. It's going to take a couple tries to get this.
What that smoke was from.
Probably, yep. He reset before the caution triggered. But goes off into turn number 3 here, I bet, and there it is. Somehow that didn't trigger a yellow, and we carried on for another couple laps before it came out. But Matthew Robinson is now 5 laps down, and critically, that gives David Weishart another spot. It moves Weishart up to 17th place, and he's down pit lane, but this is just not going well for him.
And the 48 of Paul Irvin going to get the EOL.
Yeah, no surprise there. Incident responsibility for Paul Irvin. But for Weishart, look how far down the order he is in relation to all the rest of the playoff competitors. The other 7 are all in the top 8. Weishart is the only one not there right now. And in the playoff picture, that's going to be pretty catastrophic. He's going to have to go out to Michigan next week, rather, and really put on a show if he wants to move on.
Yeah, it's going to be tough for that 33, but he runs inside the top 5 almost every week, so that's where I would imagine Weishart would be at next week. But with the way the playoffs go, you never know which race is going to be the one that's nailing in your playoff hopes.
So we're going to be just over 50 laps to go here on this restart. Jake Nichols has led every single lap in this race and continues to lead laps here. No one else has tasted the top spot just yet. I think the guy that can do it is sitting right behind him, but he's going to have to figure out how to do it, and that's a challenge in its own right.
Gonna have to be on the restart here. If he can get a decent enough run on the outside, out of turn 2, it might set him up for a good 3 and 4.
Yeah,
Don't count out that 3 of Ryan Hart's yet. He's still creeping.
I think you're right about the restart. Now that Johnson kind of knows where Nichols is going, he can try to chance beating him to the throttle, but again, that's a really risky proposition. So we'll see through turns 3 and 4. Nichols on the bottom, the 28 on the outside, and that time the 91 waits a lot longer. He's playing games, and it's working out. Nichols with a fantastic restart.
Johnson going to try and get settled in before the 3 of Hearts closes that door.
Big dive by the 88 of Slaughter and a lockup from the 22 into turn 3.
Yeah, really up the track goes the Leo. Slaughter going to take away 7th. The Leo settling back in 8th. Meanwhile, door-to-door behind him. Culberson and Grant going after the 9th spot. Almost contact between the two as they head down the back.
Into turn 3 now, the 5 on the bottom. He was turned around backwards. Big slide by the 11 up the racetrack in turn 4. Has no grip up top. Drops back into the racing line right in front of the 31 and 34 rather.
Chain Wolf on the bottom of Martin. Oh, close making contact there. Out of 2. They might have just touched a little bit. 67 and 7. Hearn up to 5th. Skyley P6.
50 laps to go. Next time by, and Nichols, Johnston, Hartz, Balacino, and Hearn are your top 5. And again, it takes Johnson a couple of laps to get the pace back in the car, but now he's starting to get quicker.
Yeah, and that 91 car has spent all 150 laps on that set of tires. Had some smoke over there in turn 1. Did not trigger a caution. Might have been a replay of what we saw with Robinson over there in 3 and 4.
Yeah, it was Paul Irvin in the 48, kind of a half spin, but he got back rolling. Cameron Hearn in the 67, chasing Alan Balacino. A little lockup there from the race leader. Those tires, again, he hasn't spent a lot of time under green flag conditions on them. Look at the 70 wiggling and wobbling. Caution out. Ryan Swan again, turn 4.
We'll take a look at a replay again from the one of Ryan Swan, bringing out the most recent caution.
It's in a little hot.
And lose the rear.
Ooh.
Oh, there's Chris saying hi.
Fiden dropping the nose on the one, but looks like it'll be a retirement for Ryan Swan. That's another freebie for David Weishart. But he's going to need more of those. Despite the number of incidents that we've had, we've only had 3 official retirements: Jay Perkins, Adam Capps, and Rafe Slate. And Ryan Swan would join that group if he does indeed stay out of the race car.
See who would get the free pass there. I don't think, well, it might be Weishart, or if it was Swan, then there's going to be no free pass.
It's going to be Forrest Smith, I think, that will get one of his laps back. Forrest Smith is 2 laps down.
Man, if you're Weishart, you're kicking yourself. What do I got to do just to get a lap back, let alone get back on the lead lap? I want at least 1 lap back.
Well, there's 2 ways that this happens, where you get trapped. One of the ways is you go a lap down early and the race goes green all the way to the end and you don't get any opportunities. The other is you go multiple laps down early. They run just enough laps to lap a couple other people, and then you get stuck there because you never get the free pass because everyone else gets it. So there's two real scenarios, and the 33 has been cursed with the latter tonight. And it is so frustrating, especially when a championship is on the line, to be stuck that place. But it all comes down to that earlier incident, Hunter. Every moment is consequential, especially in a series where you only have two races in a round. Every race and every moment matters.
Yeah, this is going to be interesting if Nichols can make it all the way on fuel. Yeah, again, we haven't seen him come down and pit for tires. He spent this entire race on that set of tires and hasn't come in for fuel once. I believe almost everyone else has come down and taken some form of a pit stop, whether it's tires or fuel.
Well, 200 laps is 200 laps here is 100 miles at a 1 mile track. So you'd have to think that maybe with fuel saving, I'm sure this would be not too hard to do, to be honest. So maybe he's just making it work and is just planning on staying out the whole way, leading from pole all the way to the end without ever having to pass anybody or even come down pit lane. That would be about the easiest you could imagine it being. But he's executing, right? I mean, yeah, I'm saying it's easy because he hasn't had to do much, but he's still defending on the restarts. He's playing that game beautifully, and he's not making any mistakes up front as the leader, which it's clear tonight making mistakes is very easy to do.
The tire where he's been able to make a set of tires go longer than the rest of the field, and he might be able to do that here without even making a pit stop.
1 lap to green. We're going to double them up again. And to give you an idea of how short this race could be from here on out, again, it's 10:30 on the East Coast. We could be done by 10:45 if this race goes green to the end. That's how quick and how little time drivers actually have. With a couple of cautions, it might take us a little longer than that, but there's really not a lot of time.
There we go. Pace car down into pit road. Jake Nichols on the inside, going to restart as the leader. Johnson on the outside. We'll see the 91 get a good launch off of 4. Green flag back in the air at the paper clip.
Nichols clears Johnson. And on the restart last time, Johnson took a swipe at him. He doesn't do it this time. Look at Hearn to the inside of Balacino. He tried to stuff the nose down there in turn 3. And he's going to get some overlap this time.
Still trying to stuff his nose down there. Oh, Balacino shuts the door on him.
Little side-by-side. I think it's Tom DeLeo on the outside in the 22. He'll be under fire from the 5 of Garrett Grant into turn 3. But Grant can't come from a long enough back. The 22 slips up, though, trying to chase the 88.
Did not have a good corner there. And Scioli underneath the 67 of Hearn, trying to take that 5th spot away. To give it to Hearn, though.
Up front, 4/10 between the two race leaders. And they single it out now a couple laps after the restart. Under 40 laps to go here from Martinsville. Jake Nichols is just making this work. Tire is not a concern at this stage. He has just been almost flawless tonight. He's executed the restarts beautifully and is trying to drive away from the 28 of Nicholas Johnson, who's been the only real threat to his pace this evening. Here is Balacino under fire from the 67 of Hearn in turn 3.
Still trying to get around that 70. Remember, he shut the door on Hearn a few laps ago, but now Hearn opened that door back up and now has shut it on the 70.
Will slip up mid-corner, though. That's a dangerous maneuver. We've seen people slide up the racetrack mid-turn, and it cost them. But not an issue for the 67 that time. The 88 of Brad Slaughter, we mentioned, he's got to get up into position. Same thing with DeLeo. And Scioli next on the chopping block for the 88 on his recovery drive after a couple climbs and slips all throughout the order this evening.
Yeah, Weishart's really taken a big fall. That's kind of opened up. Oh, and Simon Fine spins. Caution is out. Just going to say Weishart has taken a big fall. That's opened up the door for Scioli to move on up. DeLeo's taken a fall as well. Our 17th caution of the night. Take a look at a replay and see what brought out that 17th caution.
Yeah, he was all on his own. This one was later in the corner, though. We've seen a lot of incidents mid-turn. But right here, oh, it starts mid-corner. He chases it up the racetrack. You know what I think it is, to be honest, Hunter? I think the marbles are extremely slippery. That's got to be a piece of it, because we've seen people, as soon as they get to that upper groove of the racetrack and they hit those marbles, he gets loose here, yeah, but then he gets in the marbles here, and just watch how out of control this car is. Just, he's only doing 30 miles an hour and just loops right around.
Yeah, that is, it's strange how it's just that small of a difference. Getting in the marbles just upsets the tires, and just you lose all control there.
I mean, he's going so slow. There should be mechanical grip, but there's just none. I know we've seen some people spin on the inside lane too, but some of that was just carrying a lot of speed. But anyone that gets above that inside concrete area, gets up into the asphalt, their car just goes straight or it loops around. There's really no in between. There's no grip to be had in that upper groove of the racetrack right now.
When DeLeo has fallen to 15th, might be down pit road.
DeLeo,
I was going to say Forrest Smith is, I know he's the free pass car, that 84, but DeLeo is behind Forrest Smith.
Way far back. I don't know exactly what happened here. Well, replays cure all. While we were watching the other things, oh, he did come down pit lane, so came on down to get fresh tires and fuel, perhaps. But again, I think we can safely assume that Nichols knows he can make it to the end. I don't think he would have stayed out this long if he couldn't. So let's just erase that and focus on his track position at this point. He has led every lap, as we've documented. Johnson has been unable to do anything with him on the restart. Neither has Hartz from third. So what is the plan for guys like Johnson, Hartz, Hearn, and Balacino? What can they do to uproot this 91?
Hit him with the car. Hit him with the bumper. That's basically the only chance that they have at trying to get around the 91. But it's going to have to come from the 28 of Nick Johnston. And Johnston, minus 13 heading into tonight. He has yet to win a cup race this season. Had one get away from him at Nashville. And he tried to give the 91 of Jake Nichols a fight at Homestead, but a late caution came out, and it disrupted that. I think we see a bumper here from the 28 of Johnston. You move him out of the way. You get into the first position, and if you're in first when the checker flag flies, you lock yourself in to the championship four. I feel like that's what we're going to see from the 28 of Johnston if he is close to the bumper on the 91 of Nichols.
Well, again, don't hate the player, hate the game if that happens, right? I mean, that's the intensity that's placed on these drivers. It's going to be a 30-lap sprint to the end. We've had 17 yellow flags. Judging by what we've seen so far, we can expect at least 3 more, probably more like 5. And hearing reports that the 91 thinks he's good, even if we go green all the way to the end, as we start racing. 30 to go here from Martinsville in the Area Elite Entertainment Cup Series. Good restart by the 91, clears the 28. Behind him, some side-by-side battling, Slaughter and Scioli.
Going at it for that 6th spot. The 88 trying to get closer inside the top 5. He has the advantage. Going to come off the corner. Irvin nearly into the wall off of 4. But the 8's going to clear the 7 for P6.
The 91 just sprints away so delicately on the restarts. And Johnson is holding up the train here, but it takes his car a couple laps before he really gets comfortable with it.
Yeah, Johnson's looks like he's gonna need a green flag run to have anything at the bumper of the 91 if he wants to get close to it.
David Weishart again, still 2 laps down. He's a little closer. Now he's the first car that's laps down, though, so he will have an opportunity to get those laps back if we see caution flags. And judging by his luck tonight, we might not see another one. Here's Hartz on the outside of Hearn for 3rd.
Might happen right here with these 2. The 67 on the bottom, 3 on the outside, door to door heading into 3. 67 has the advantage for 3rd. Hart's going to fall back to 4th, try to hold on to that. Balacino underneath of him behind these 2. Brad Slaughter in the 88 going to try and work the outside.
Trying to get power down in 3rd gear, up to 4th. Balacino took a look at the bottom of the 3, couldn't manage to get the nose in the inside. 25 laps to go this time by. They're ticking away. And Johnston is now 8 tenths, 9 tenths back I think that 28 car is slower than he was earlier in the race. Before, he could put pressure on the 91, maybe 3 or 4 laps after a restart, but he is not a factor right now.
Nope, and the 67 of Hearn trying to take advantage of that, closing in on the bumper of Nick Johnston. See if he can find his way around the 20. We've seen Johnston be able to get to the bumper of Nichols. Can't get around him. We'll see if Hearn can pass the 28 as he closes in on this bumper.
Nichols last time by only ran about a 10th slower than his best lap of the race, so that tire fall off is almost non-existent as we got a good battle here and contact. The 11 and the 84 come together. Forrest Smith and Jordan Martin.
Nothing wrong with trading paint, especially this late in the race. You're going to see that happen. As the laps dwindle, the aggression starts to rise.
Brad Slaughter locking up a left front tire. Vallecino balancing the car on the right rear tire on corner exit, getting the power down.
Johnston really not having the grip that he once had, and he came in and he pitted for tires.
Yeah, I mean, he got tires and fuel, but they just don't seem to be helping him right now. Nichols maybe running a little bit lighter fuel load because he's burned off so much. Was a 10th faster than the 28 last time by.
Yeah, I think if you're Hearn, how much is this hurting you? Because it seems like he's got a faster car than the 28, but just can't get close enough to find a way around him.
Brad Slaughter Jr. a little quicker than Vallecino from what I can tell, but initiating passes has been the hard part tonight. Once you get side by side, it's easy. But again, the independent rear suspension on these cars giving a lot more mechanical grip for corner entry specifically, making it difficult to outbrake somebody because everyone's got really good stopping power.
One driver who's looking for a caution. Whoa, 70 again, squirrely there, off of 2. The 33 of David Whitestar, we get 2 more cautions. Not only would we break the area track record for cautions in a race, but he'd be back on the lead lap.
That's what I was saying. I don't think, given his luck, it's going to go green all the way to the end from here now that he's finally in position to receive the benefit of those free passes. That's just the way the cookie crumbles sometimes. The 88 is right on top of the 70 for 5th place. And they're running out of laps, too. 16 to go next time by.
And Vallecino, highest of those not in the playoffs, so he's just running for a win. But he finds himself in 5th, and Slaughter, every position is a point, and every point matters. So he might do everything he can to get that 70 out of his way for 5th.
Lock up from the 70.
Locked it up.
Here it comes the 88 now to the inside, but he can't get the drive off. That 70 is struggling.
Backed off there because he was going to hit his left rear quarter panel. He's going to hit it right there, though.
A little bit of a push. Just letting Vallecino know that he is there. 15 laps to go. Brake rotors are glowing red hot, and Scioli is right behind him if these two tangle.
Hearn has lost quite a bit of time from Johnston. Now he's got Hartz closer to his bumper. 67 might have had a mess up in one of the corners because now he is way behind the 28 of Johnston. Gap still 1.2 between Nichols and Johnston. But the battle for 5th still heating up between Vallecino, Slaughter, and Scioli watching from behind.
Yeah, I think there is some lap traffic now that the leaders are contending with. 91 is in the thick of it right now. The 28 is by the 31. But the best battle on the racetrack that we're watching is the one for 5th. And the 70 of Vallecino falling right back into the clutches of the 88.
Oh my goodness. Wow, he is sideways in that 70 car.
Yeah, he's chasing it for sure.
Oh, scraped the wall there out of 4. See how he comes out turn 2 this time.
Yeah, he's really struggling with it. The 88's getting a much straighter drive off the corner. No challenge for the lead as we approach 10 laps to go next time by. This is the battle for 5th, Vallecino and Brad Slaughter Jr. Vallecino not a playoff competitor. Slaughter and Scioli are.
Jordan Martin is now the first car 1 lap down, so knowing Weishart's luck, we're about to have a caution.
Trouble, turn 3. The 5 is going to get turned and caution out.
What did I just say?
Wow.
Martin is the first car 1 lap down, and knowing Weishart's luck, caution was going to come out right on cue. I mean, literally, right on cue.
The Leo and Grant. The Leo just chucks it down. He locked up the tire, couldn't get it slowed, and sends the 5 for a loop.
And that happened right in front of Weishart, too.
Just to add insult to injury.
Yeah.
So that is a late race caution. Working lap 192 of 200. We are only minutes away from finishing this out. David Weishart was finally in position to get the free pass, and then Jordan Martin got lapped, and he will be the recipient of the free pass this time.
It's incredible how this works sometimes. I mean, that is so unfortunate for the 33 of Weishart. Would have liked to see that caution probably a few laps earlier, because then it would have put him 1 lap down, but now he's still stuck 2 laps down. But that is, I believe, the 18th caution of the race.
Here's a look at your race recap. 8 laps left, 18 cautions, which is admittedly less than I thought we were going to have based on the pace that we started with, but the critical numbers for Nichols, 1 leader, that's the 91, 0 lead changes, and hopefully all he's got to do for his sake is just get 1 last restart in here, and he'll go to victory lane and lock himself into that final 4 if he wasn't already.
Might see 1 more restart. I think it's going to get a little more intense now within the top 5 and definitely throughout the top 10 and outside of that. With the 28 and the 67, I could see the contacts starting as early as that position on the track, 2nd and 3rd, which we're inside of 10 to go, which is presented by CNC Logging. We would like to thank CNC Logging for their support of the CNC Logging Truck Series this season in the area. Located in Boiling Springs, South Carolina, CNC Logging is your place to go for any of your logging needs. God wood, big or small, summer or fall, will cut your log guaranteed. CNC Logging. You can catch the CNC Logging Truck Series from the Paperclip tomorrow night at 8:40 Eastern on the Area iRacing Twitch channel and from SimTV on YouTube.
All right, so as we get closer and closer to the final couple laps here, remind everybody, Hunter, of the green-white checkered rules, because I feel like that will be very, very relevant.
Yes, so in area, we only get 1 attempt at a green-white checkered, so we go green with 2 to go. If they wreck in turn 1 or 2, basically if they wreck before they get the white flag and the caution comes out, then the race is over. But if they get the white flag, then the checkered flag will end the race. But we only get 1 attempt at it, and we're closing in on the possibility of that green-white checker coming out. We're going to have, I believe, 1 to go this time by, and it looks like Jake Nichols, no surprise, going to take the bottom as he's done all night long.
And Johnston will have to fight back on the outside. I think he's 1 good restart away from having a real shot at this, but he has not been able to do anything with the 91 as of late, or as of yet, I should say. A little bit of confusion in the background of who's lining up where. Culberson drops into 8th. Double filed up here. It's going to be 4 laps to go. If we get a caution in the next 3 laps, we will be going green-white checkered. Here we go. 4 laps left here at Martinsville.
Well, Nichols went early there in the middle of 3 and 4.
Johnston.
Johnston.
Going to try to get to the bumper. He's going to push him up the racetrack. Here he comes to the bottom.
Johnston on the bottom. Nichols on the outside. Right behind is Hearn. And in the 3.
Oh, they're going to touch.
Into the 91. Up the track they go. Here comes Cameron Hearn. 3 wide for the lead off of 4. Now they're dead even at the stripe. Hearn on the bottom. Johnston on the outside. 3 laps to go at Martinsville. Oh, and Nichols getting hit by Hartz from underneath as well for the 3rd spot. Cameron Hearn, though, powers into the lead. Johnston to the inside. They're going to make contact. Around goes Hearn. He's sideways in front of the field. The caution is back out at Martinsville.
Wow. What a last couple of laps. We are not done yet, but big dramas on the restart that time. Holy cow.
You knew what Johnston had to do to get in front of that 91. And, I mean, he did it.
Here's a look at the collision we just saw. And we'll go back, of course, and show you the restart as well during this yellow flag period. He gets down there, knocks into the 67, and turns him all the way around. But the big news was on that restart. Look at this.
Yeah, we're going to have to look at this, and we're going to have to look at the contact again to bring out the caution because, I saw something there. 28 gets into the 91. They're door to door.
Well played
Johnson
there.
knows.
Honestly.
Yeah, well played.
That,
he knew that was his only shot.
Used him up a little bit there, and here comes the 67.
You're gonna want to keep this playing because then these two are gonna go at it, and then Ryan Hartz gets into the 91 there.
And then
watch the 91 of Jake Nichols. Look, he was sending it for that 28 of Johnson, and guess what? The 28's in the lead, the 91 is in second, so we might see a little reverse retaliation there for Nick Johnson, I feel like, coming up on this restart.
Yeah, this is all a little bit of contact there. What was that all about?
Yeah, I'm not sure. That's James Shanewolf in the 31. I don't know if that's attaboy or what are you doing?
Oh, the 28's on pit lane. Don't know what's up with that. Drops out of the top spot. That changes everything. Jake Nichols back to the lead.
Oh, the 28 was given the EOL for the caution.
Well, that's...
Oh, my goodness.
Well, that's why they have those penalties, to not incentivize crashing each other out, but it bit the 28. I mean, I don't know, maybe 2 minutes ago I thought that we would be talking about the 28 winning this race because of that excellent restart and the push-to-pass move, but used up the 91 again and then got into the 67, turned him around, and now the 91's back leading the race.
Wow, this is nuts.
I'll say.
And we're at the green-white checker attempt now.
Yeah, we're overtime now. We're lap 202 of 204. And this is going to be our last attempt. So if the caution comes out, race is over. And Jake Nichols with Ballacino to his outside. So really this had the net result of removing the 67 and the 28 from the race lead. And again, fighting for championships, that's not the kind of mistakes you got to have. The 28 was in a spot. I know he wanted to move on, Hunter. It was worth the shot until he tangled with the 67.
That's man, I'm flabbergasted from that. Nick Johnson not going to be happy once this race is over with.
So rolling through turns 1 and 2. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of unhappy drivers after, but this is Martinsville. That's what it's for. That's why it's on the schedule. It's to create drama. That's why people have been coming back to it for decades upon decades. Jake Nichols, Alan Ballacino out front. 2 laps to go, 1 mile of racing left in round 3 of 5 in the Area Elite Entertainment Cup Series playoffs. Green flag back in the air.
Great restart from the 91 of Nichols. The 3 of Hartz, though, looking for that second spot. They're crashing. Caution out. Race is over. Jake Nichols is going to be your winner.
Adam Capps and the 28 of Johnston tangling on the front straight. And just like that, in an anticlimactic ending, the race is over. Wow! There was more to this than meets the eye.
You know what? Shane Wolf gave the 28 a bump after the caution came out, and I think that was the reason for the caution. Look, Shane Wolf's just going to get right into the 28 and turn him.
Yeah, again, teammates. Wow, then the 55 piles in there. Not a lot of people happy with Johnston. You know, I'm a little bit surprised because this is Martinsville, Hunter. That was the only time we really saw anybody dump anybody all night long, and clearly they weren't willing to take that, huh?
I'm still confused as to why Shane Wolf was upset at Nick Johnston.
Well, it earned the 31 a disqualification as well, so that will not end the way that he needed it to. Jake Nichols, though, I mean, it didn't happen the way I thought it was going to happen, but he gets it done.
Yeah, he got it done, and I think we had a couple of lead changes there at the very end, but for the most part, that 91 car was the dominant car. Did deserve the victory. 2 leaders, 2 lead changes. Had an area record, 20 cautions for 96 laps, so almost half the race was run under caution. But the 91 car of Jake Nichols wins at Martinsville and is moving on to the Championship 4.
Deserving win. I know it didn't exactly happen the way that I'm sure the 91 would have liked. He would have probably just liked to have no drama and just make it all the way back to the end, but he led 202. He led more laps than was in the race. 202 of 205. And he gets it done. Let's have a look at our results here and mull over a little bit more of this. Jake Nichols, though, on top. Alan Ballacino in second. Then Ryan Hartz, Brad Slaughter Jr., James Scioli, your top 5. So Brad Slaughter sneaking in there, and James Scioli, we've split our playoff competitors 4 and 4. 4 inside the top 10 and 4 outside the top 10. Dominic DeLeo, Cameron Hearn, Johnson, and Weishart, they're going to be the ones vying for positions harder next week at Michigan.
Yeah, Hartz and Slaughter both entered tonight, 14 points out of the cutoff line. Needed to have a top 5 run, like you said early on, if they want to go into the championship forward. They did just that. James Skyerly entered +7 to the cutoff line. He's going to put himself in a better position at making it to the championship 4 next week when we go to Michigan. But still a lot of heated drivers. Definitely going to be the talk of the town after this one is said and done, and we'll have your podium drivers up here in just a moment.
Yep,
so we see the rest of the field. And as you mentioned, the 31 of James Shanewolf, given the DQ, the disqualification for that last incident with Nick Johnson.
Yeah, can't have that. But either way, I'm sure at the moment it felt justified. But that's just how Martinsville is. And again, a lot of the incidents weren't multi-car, but we still had some dramas at the end. One driver that mostly avoided drama and came home with a solid third-place finish is Ryan Hartz in the number 3. Ryan, what a night. This is a long one for everybody. 196 of our 205 laps rather, under caution. There was a lot of dramas there at the end, but you outlasted it and grabbed a 3rd place. So is that a good night for you, or do you wish you could have had a chance at the win?
Honestly, I don't think I've ever said this before, but I'm leaving Martinsville with a good attitude. The car was actually pretty good tonight. I don't really have any complaints about it. Don't get me wrong, it was probably one of the hardest Martinsville setups I've ever driven. If you get loose, it's going around. So the setup was really hard to drive, but after about 50 laps, I was like, all right, I got this, okay. And it was actually really fun to race against everybody. But yeah, this 3 car was bad fast, just like every other week. So the great points tonight. I know we're in kind of a hole right now, starting the 2nd round, but I'm sure we still got more work to do next week. But P3 here at Martinsville, I definitely can't complain.
You were also involved in a pretty heavy impact earlier in the race, kind of nosed on into the barrier. Did you feel any damage from that? I mean, the car certainly looks a little secondhand, but it didn't seem to affect you very much. You just stayed out on the racetrack and restarted in 2nd and basically stayed there for the rest of the race.
Yeah, thank you for reminding me. I was livid, absolutely livid when that happened. I went over the radio and said something I shouldn't have. But yeah, I was extremely mad because I knew the car was fast, and I got extremely lucky that it didn't hurt my horsepower or my engine or anything, or it didn't break a wheel. I don't know how, but I think I doored someone, or I T-boned someone, then I crashed into the inside wall, and the car was still bad fast after that. So yeah, I was extremely mad at that, but I got lucky.
Take the wins where you can get them, Ryan. That was, I guess, a win in that book. But congratulations, the top 3. Best luck to you next week at Michigan.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Move on now to Alan Ballacino, who finished in 2nd in the number 70, was a 10.5 short of having a shot at Jake Nichols, and the caution kind of reduced any opportunity for you to fight for the lead there, Alan. But with all the dramas around you, I think coming home in 2nd's not a bad night. What do you think?
I think it was probably as good as I was going to get, to be honest. I don't think I was really as fast as those guys up there, but I'll take it.
Well, looking back on the night, I think you have to feel pretty good on that because there were so many drivers that had spins and that sort of thing. How on edge was the car, and especially in that upper groove? We saw a lot of drivers hit the asphalt where kind of the marbles were, then it was game over. Did you feel like the car was on ice up there?
No, just exit. I was running the quick 3.15 box, and I was wrecking every corner for a while there when the tires got a little warm. It was a struggle for me there. I was fighting the car the whole time.
Hunter, anything from you before we send Alan on his way?
Gosh, I'm still flabbergasted by everything that's going on afterwards. I just gotta say congrats on the solid 2nd place tonight there, Alan. Been really solid as the playoffs have gone. I mean, you've been solid all season, but you've been one of the top non-playoff drivers as the playoffs have gone on, and looking forward to see you carry this momentum into Michigan and possibly finishing a position better.
We're in Michigan. Oh, man. That's anybody's game then.
All right. Hey, Alan, congratulations again. A strong run for you. Best of luck to you next week at Michigan. We'll see you there.
Thanks.
Moving on now to Jake Nichols, and it didn't happen the way that we thought it would happen. We thought that you would drive off into the Virginia sunset with no dramas there, Jake, but a wild couple of laps there between you and the 28 and the 67, and it kind of all ended up the way we thought it would, just with a bit of an intermission there right at the tail end. Take us through that those last couple restarts and the challenges and battles you had with the 28 and 67.
Yeah, it was hard to get away on the front stretch. So with how we shift and the throttle in this car, I wanted to get away 2 car lengths was probably the ideal spot in a turn 1, so I could just run my corner and not have to worry about getting punted, but or even just have someone on my bumper. But that one restart, he was kind of a little closer than usual, or maybe just same range, and I knew it was coming. I knew I was gonna get bumped. I was hoping it wouldn't happen, considering we were on like lap 195 and I'd led every single lap. I was hoping that he wouldn't pump me for it, but he still did. I tried to match him, but he drove me off the track in 3, which is hard racing. I know Hart's apologized for me for sticking it in there for 3rd, but I mean, you got to take what you can get. Punting is different. That's a different scenario. I think personally I would have done something different, because all 3 of those guys were in really good spots point-wise compared to, let's say, Weishart, who had been having a rough night. So I don't know if you really needed to send somebody for the win, especially 2 times, because it happened twice there with the same car punting me in the 67. So I don't know if that was necessary, but for him, he probably thought it was. Win and you're in, so it makes it way easier for next week if you win. So I get it, but at the same time, it would have put him really in a good spot had he just not been over aggressive. But you're gonna have that at a short track. You have it really everywhere nowadays, so you got to take what you can get, because passing is limited, especially tonight. So I'm not surprised. I'm glad we still came up with the win. I wish we would have led 205 out of 205 and not a little bit less. But either way, it was a good night for us, both in the team points and the driver standings, as we lock ourselves into the Final 4.
Well, Jake, a great night, and considering you led the whole race up to that point, I can't say I'm not happy to see you get that job done after all that drama. But congratulations, and we'll see you at Michigan. Best of luck to you there.
Thank you.
All right, and Hunter wrapping things up for the night. A lot of drama in the post-race for this one, but that's how Martinsville is. Did we expect to walk out of here without a little bit?
No, I expected at least some tempers to be flaring. I didn't expect it to flare this much, though. I mean, boy, if tonight is a preview of what we're in for, man, tomorrow night's going to be good. CNC Long and Truck Series here at Martinsville, and Thursday night the Lodge Box Series. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be intense. And the trucks, I'd say trucks are probably one of the better series here for area iRacing. And boy, we're going to see some of these guys tomorrow night that we're seeing tonight, like Cameron Hearn, James Shanewolf, Brad Slaughter as well. It's going to be interesting to see how that one plays out.
It certainly will be truck racing tomorrow night here from Martinsville on SimTV. Kyle Heyer joined by Hunter Sleppy. We'll see you tomorrow night for the next round of the playoffs in the Truck Series. We'll see you there.